Cheers, let's do this.
Yeah.
Cheers.
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 Yeah.
Nice to see you, boys.
No, nice to see you. Yeah, we're good. Neil, Jacob, thank you very much for turning up.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure.
No, it's an absolute pleasure and honour to have you here.
Yeah, pleasure.
I'm going to go straight to the point. I had a little search for Neil Melliard on the search engine the other day. And one of the things that popped up was, I believe it was an interview, or someone must have done an article about you from Cars and Classics.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And it said that you've been doing this for 40 years.
Yeah, more than that now.
More than that now.
Yeah, unbelievably.
Right, so we're going to come to that in a minute, but where did the passion for you start? Because I know where it's going to start for Jacob, but where did it start for you back when you were a child?
I don't, specifically, I couldn't really say a specific time, but I do remember clearly getting to around 10 years old, 11 years old, started getting into model kits, loving model kits and stuff like Tamiya stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that.
But cars or anything like planes?
No, yeah, I did do planes and
Boats.
anything models. No boats,
No
never
boats.
into boats, planes and cars and that. And then get to about, I did this, one thing model I did do was a Revell model, American make, of Tony Nance's dragster, the Sizzler. So
Yeah.
and it had a logo which I've painted up on my unit now, Wins Oil logo. And I remember being fascinated by the Wins Oil logo, the Krager logo, Krager wheels. So
Yeah.
this is all early. How would I be? I've been 10, 11, 12, something like that. So I was born in 64. So this is sort of 74, 75, 76.
Jesus Christ.
So a long time ago. And I loved that dragster. I loved Tony Nancy. Then I started reading, trying to find out about, I remember actively finding out about dragsters. And then you used to have it's so funny, you used to have a program on ITV on Saturdays, a sports program with World of Sport, like with Dickie Davis, and they used to have rugby and
Yeah.
soccer and what else, horse racing. None of that I was interested in, but they used to have these two little segments
About drag.
well, no, it was called Sports Special One and Sports Special Two, and they used to have, you'd have Speedworth, National Hot Rod Racing, like short circuit,
Yeah, yeah.
and you'd have drag racing from the States. You'd have a bit of NHRA, and it's 5 minutes.
That's
Five-
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, that's mad. That back.
Dickie
back
Davis, yeah, I mean, it's funny hearing thinking about it now. I mean, you don't, it was like another life.
Been a twinkle in my dad's penis, but
But yeah, Dickie, it was you had Sports Special One, Sports Special Two, so you had 4 hours of bloody football and horse racing. None of it, I just didn't have any interest. And the pools, you do the football pools
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end. But right in the middle, there were these two segments of 5 minutes or 10 minutes of drag racing and all sorts of stuff. You know, you'd have drag boat racing
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
so you'd
And
have
that
to
was-
watch the whole 2 hours to
I
hopefully get
used
those
to wa-
5
I used
minutes
to wait all
unfolded.
week for it. No, it was because there was nothing else. You've got to remember, there was nothing else. There was BBC and ITV, and that was it. There was nothing else. And I
Different
remember
era.
that being a real big thing.
So do you
So-
reckon is that what kind of sealed the whole?
Well, you combine that, and then we were talking about it earlier. Actually, me and Jake just this morning about American Auto Parts. So I used to live. I still live in Wallington, like South London, sort of
Yeah.
in between Croydon and Wimbledon. And there was I was lucky enough to live. This area was it was a hotbed of small Fords, really small Fords, Escorts, and you had the Harris family down.
person.
Harris family down the road with all running V8 Zephyrs, like, and I've got one of those nowadays, and well, I've had one since then. But like, you had the Harrises running around in Zephyrs. Up the road, you had American Auto Parts, and outside there, all especially on the Saturday morning, you'd have all sorts of Superbirds and Camaros, and 3 or 4 at a time. and they used to sell custom paints and had all the hot rod books inside there. So
you used to go there.
I used to
like,
walk up
school
there or
and-
cycle up there, yeah. And that
you-
was a real,
You were saying that directly opposite from there was another shop. Who's your friend now? Called
Yeah.
Rough Diamond Racing.
Yeah,
who were
Dave-
engine builders.
Okay.
For, like,
yeah,
drag motors.
yeah,
and-
yeah. But well, back then Dave was just racing, but Dave went out. Dave Gibbons, his name is, and he's an old friend now. But he used to park a little Fiat Topolino, which was
Got no fucking clue what that is.
yeah, it's almost if it was a comparable to say a Beetle. It's a small people's car, a really neat little car. But what the Americans used to do was take the body, put it towards the rear of a chassis, so the chassis used to stick out the front.
Yeah.
Skinny wheels, big drag wheels on the back, and a small block Chevy. And so within a very short walk of me, you had all this stuff going on.
So that's
And if you like cars, that was
That
quite
was
a big thing.
pretty much the place
Yeah,
to grow up.
yeah.
In.
So then, yeah, I don't know what else to say really. From then, I used to cycle up to the Chelsea Cruise, which was 45-minute cycle ride away. Used to cycle up there at like 15, 16 years old and sit on the bridge, Chelsea Bridge or Albert Bridge. And that was absolute turmoil back then. I mean, you had the Prince Charles Way, the North Embankment, Albert Bridge and Chelsea Bridge completely solid both ways
Cars.
with customs and hot rods and stuff. I mean, there must have been hundreds and hundreds. It wasn't 30 cars. It was hundreds and hundreds of, some ratty, some really cool, but total mayhem. And so I think that's where I started. Yeah. So
So I presume that's when you were, what, 15, 16?
yeah.
So not long after that, I presume you've passed your driving license.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And what was your first car?
first car was belonged to an old family friend, it was a 1936 Triumph Gloria. So which is, if you can imagine one of those really old MGs.
I've got
Show me a picture.
I've got a picture of it.
of him on my phone.
up of that?
I've got a picture of him with the car on my phone.
Have
now.
you got?
Have you?
Yeah.
Can you get it out?
Yeah.
So that
You don't mind me showing this, do you?
no. I got that. It is a bit embarrassing in a way, but how you got that then?
Do you know what? It caught my eye in the workshop yesterday. And I was like, I need a
yeah.
picture.
And
Before
mate,
It belonged to a family friend of my parents, right? And it's a 1936 Triumph Gloria. So it was an old sit up and beg type car. So a real old jalopy car that had like a late 50s, early 60s fiberglass body on it. Completely seized engine, seized brakes and that. But it was quite cool in a way. 10.88 horsepower.
10.8.
10.8
That's
Coventry.
less than the Fiat I've got outside.
Unbelievable. That's
Oh wow. That's cool.
yeah. And I did get it going. 3 years took me 3 years.
Look at that. So that it took,
Show me.
it took you 3
Yeah,
years.
3 years.
running.
Get it running and MOT'd.
Put it up.
Please, yeah.
But I used to get tugged. You could. I got to the point where you took it out.
Well, back in those days.
Oh, it was way worse than now.
Really?
Yeah, way worse. So you get.
My stepdad told me that back in the day he was getting pissed up, driving back home. He'd end up in a ditch. Police would come by, give him a lift home. And that's
Well,
about it. True story.
I think that depends where
My
you.
stepdad.
I think it depends where it's from.
Depends where you are.
Guess in
Well,
South,
it's
South
in-
London, it was a little bit different.
With that car in particular, it got to the point where my dad got fed up with it, and he wanted me to get rid of it. Really, my dad was brilliant. He was absolutely really supportive.
Was your dad into cars?
No, not at all. No, none of my family were. No. I mean, I had my uncle, my dad's cousin, David, who died really young. He was always getting nicked for racing and stuff like that. So he was a real hot rod. And I used to enjoy talking to him on a Saturday morning when I used to go in with my dad to help him at work. So David was a really nice guy. He died really young. It was a shame, and I missed him actually because he was really got on with him, and you could tell that was the reason why. But that car, he used to get nicked in it all the time, pulled over. We had one time outside of McDonald's in Sutton. I had traffic. The copper didn't. He hated the car, called traffic, and it was up on stands and jacks, and they were. Oh, it was real murder, that car. But so I got rid of that. Then I had Mark 1 Escort with a Pinto in it, 2 litre, and that was a lot of fun. That was
Wow.
that was a lot of fun.
How much did you
And
buy that for? 100 quid?
yeah, it was a really cheap car. And I had a 2-door Mark 2 Cortina, which was really nice, mint.
A Lotus or
Pardon?
Lotus?
No, just a 1300, and that belonged to the optician that used to look after my eyes when I was 4 eyes from a kid. So, and she used to drive this car. She used to drive this car from Morden to Wallington each day, and then to Italy once. It was probably 20 or 30,000 miles from New, and I bought that thing again. Yeah, I don't know, probably 300 or 400 quid. So that kind of money.
So was you working at that time, or
Yeah.
what was you doing?
When I left school, I went to a place that used to fix Triumph Stags up near Chelsea. Used to cycle there from, that was like a fair old cycle. And I worked there for a while, which was good in a way, and so a few had me ups and downs there. But then moved to a place called Cliff Davis Cars, which was out west Shepherd's Bush way. It used to sell American cars, yeah, and that was really fun. That was really fun there. I was really happy there for a year. And then...
Good stories there.
Yeah. I mean, the parts guy who was called Andy, a Polish fella.
Well, back in those days,
Yeah. He was really nice. I liked Andy.
definitely illegal back in the day.
I don't know. But that bloke, he was...
There was no Polish people here before Poland joined the EU.
Yeah. He was a grown-up to me, but he was probably only 25. And I was like... This is 83-ish, 82, 83, so...
You must have been like, what, 18?
Yeah, 18, 19. And I just got my Zephyr, so I've got a Mark 1 Zephyr now, which I bought then. So I was 18 or 19. And that was stock, and I used to drive it there like 1 day a week. And I think my mum used to let me use her Sunbeam. She had a tool, but like a little hatchback, and I could occasionally use that because that was cheaper to run, or I'd cycle there. But that was a cool place to work. Andy's like he the Polish fella. He'd know every part of every American car off by heart from what I could make out. Really clever. He just knew his Americans cars, and it was a really great place because he used to tear motors apart and service them and stuff like that. So it was quite a good place to learn. Yeah, but he said, I mean, he used to take a boat. Down to the Thames at lunchtime and just put a little speedboat down to the Thames. He sunk his Nova. He used to tow the speedboat down with a Nova down, a Chevy Nova, down to the Half Moon, right by the Half Moon in Putney. Put the boat in, but he backed it down too far. Got the Nova stuck in the silt, and then went back for one of the sales cars, which was like a Chevy Blazer or a Bronco. I can't remember which way round it was, and then got stuck, soaking in, and the water came up over the car. So it was a total shit show. Yeah. Up over. Yeah. All of them.
Did he keep his job afterwards? Or?
I think he was too useful. I'd love to know if you ever see
one in Polish, they're just too useful to fucking get rid of.
I'd love it if he ever sees this. I'd love him to get in touch.
How the fuck do I know that?
Yeah, but brilliant. That was so that was quite fun. Yeah, and then
that's insane.
Yeah, then I sort of got a forklift job. Driving forklifts, doing night work down at a warehouse down the road, and then earned the money to go to the States and do always wanted to go to the States, and there was for various reasons, and so
Did you go to States?
Yeah.
For how long?
For a summer in 1984. Yeah.
Woodstock or something like that.
No. I caught. There was
Flower Power.
No, mainly just because of drag racing and stuff like that. I just wanted to see the real deal rather than watch it on the TV.
American.
Yeah. So I did that. Flew into New York and then stayed in YMCA's and got the Graham bus all the way across to California and
that's great.
Down the coast. And,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and all the way back to New York over a summer. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I went to all the drag strips I could and street
Did you go on your own?
Yeah. Yeah, it was shit scared. Yeah, got robbed and everything. Everything got lost and.
Yeah, back then New York was a dodgy place, wasn't it?
Yeah, I tell you what was funny is you think how things have changed because I didn't have a credit card or a phone, or all I had was a bit of cash, sort of around my waist and in a bum bag and that, and I hired a rent-a-wreck. I remember this the other day. I forgot all about it. I hired a rent-a-wreck at 19. You could hire a car. There was a company called Rent-a-wreck, and you hired a car which just for a little bit because you couldn't get a bus. So with a couple of people, yeah.
How did you find America back then?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah. I mean, New York was scary. Places like New York and Chicago was quite overwhelming. Even coming from London, which wasn't a particularly posh place. London wasn't a particularly nice place
Well, is it
in the
now?
70s and 80s. It wasn't zhizhy like it is.
Is it a nice place now? Or?
I don't know. It's zhizhy. It's quite posh, isn't it? But back then, it was quite ropey, and like places like New York and Chicago are quite scary actually for a youngster. I've really found them quite. I was quite scared. I got robbed first in New York, and
But all your money gone? Or?
half of it, yeah. Because I mean, as the journey went on, I was slept out in the parks and that quite a lot. I remember doing that.
What?
So because I was quite skint.
That's something I want to dwell into a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's funny. It's funny.
So
But
you
yeah.
landed in New York.
Yeah, went all the
Got
way
robbed.
across. Just greyhounded it across. Went to Ohio. Went to the Street Rod Nationals in '80. That was '84. So it was I think it was Columbus. It was Columbus. So yeah, Street Rod Nationals in Columbus, and then which was wicked. That was so good. And then
On your own.
yeah, then went a bus across to Nebraska, through Nebraska and into Northern California, and then wanted to go to San Diego because there was a car. I used to look out on the magazines the car was called La Jolla, and it was like a lead sled, and it was from it. The pictures of it were taken in La Jolla, I think, so that was sort of my target. Went down there and went to Carlsbad, the drag strip there, which is gone now, but that was wicked.
That sounds insane.
Did a couple of you had to hitch there. You couldn't get the drag strip was in the middle of nowhere. You couldn't get there on a bus or anything like that. So I hitched there. And some Navy guys picked me up and they took me
Did
back.
you get
They
robbed
took,
again?
no, sweet as, and they took me back to downtown San Diego. So I stayed there and then went across to Galveston. I went to Galveston just because of the song. The Glenn Campbell song was a really old song. Because you didn't really know where to go. You've just got these places you've heard about in a song, yeah. That's all you did. That's all I did. There was no tourist guide or anything. I just wanted to go. It didn't really matter where. I wanted to eat in a diner and have a burger. Funny, isn't it? Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So
How did it mold you as a person? Do you think did it?
I think it made. I was quite a quiet guy and quite timid, really. Yeah, really, really quiet back then, and I think it made you a bit stronger, made you quite a bit bolder. Maybe that's what it would have done.
But I think because when I went traveling on my own, there's only a couple of days where you can go without talking to someone, and you have to make friends and talk to people along the way.
Exactly it.
Because you just go mental. You just fucking go berserk.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think the thing is catching buses, like greyhounding it. I was a bit scared to hitchhike unless because it was very expensive to hire a car, but and the trains in the train service in the States isn't much. It's not like ours. It's not something you could hop on and just get somewhere. It's easier to get a domestic flight, and then you don't see a country, do you? So I did the bus thing, and that just makes you talk to people, really. So yeah. Well, they're certainly going to talk to you whether you want them to or not.
Yeah. No, that's insane.
English accent.
Yeah. Well, no, that was almost a problem. Yeah. I mean, it's still a.
Do you know the Queen? She's my
It's
garden queen.
It's funny, isn't it? It's so funny, but yeah, English accent does.
That's probably why I got
helps.
robbed in New York.
No, that was just pure naivety. I was an idiot.
Get that carrot man show, come on.
Yeah, but yeah. So it really did me a lot of good. Yeah, did me a lot of good, and yeah, I just remember. But it was mainly car related. So that was the cars.
And I remember watching when I was a kid. All the cool stuff was from America.
Yeah. It sort of was. I mean,
Boyd Connington.
yeah, all of that. Yeah.
And that's the shit I grew up on.
Yeah. Well, this was sort of a bit before the stuff that took me there was when I went there was just as Boyd Coddington was sort of making it
An
big.
apprentice.
Yeah. Well, no. He was just starting to make a name for himself then, but really, it was the older '70s stuff that had dragged me over there. It was definitely the old timey drag racing and the hot rods. Like we were talking about Pete and Jake's, all the Pete California Kid and old hot rods. And I can't believe now being so quite European in my thinking and quite European in the cars I love. I'm fairly air cooled as a result of Mandy Jacobs' mum. But and I love European stuff and particularly old V dubs and that. But I wasn't aware of the sort of German history and the racing history that as much as I was the American. It was
So is that now why you're into drag racing as well as massive engine in a VW T2 bus or something?
Yeah.
Going up and down that Santa Pod.
Yeah. If I'd have grown up in Southend, where you had a massive VW scene in the
It was
'80s,
more like Fiestas and anything Council Estate.
yeah.
Cosworth.
Cosworth.
Yeah. So what did you grow up with?
VWs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's pretty much the only scene that was kind of big in Poland back then.
Yeah.
Water cooled or air cooled?
What called?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Mach 2,
Mach 2s,
Mach
Mach
1,
3s.
Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3s,
Yeah.
T4s.
Yeah.
That's the first show that I remember going to. That was it for me. We never had we had American cars, especially. We had a lot of,
Yeah.
Poland's big for America.
There's a Polish
I've
guy.
noticed that.
Mate,
There's a
Polish
Polish guy.
They love the GMC trucks and them big fucking Dodge trucks.
Yeah.
Like they're like 6.5 litre things. They fucking daily them. Like, definitely not drug smuggling.
Yeah. But there was a guy that comes over quite regularly from Poland. I think with a 4-wheel drive Camaro, real quick car, sort of like
The
7,
black
8
one.
or dark grey. Yeah.
Dark grey. Turbo, twin turbo LS.
Yeah, wicked
Twin
car.
turbo LS.
Yeah. All-wheel drive. So I think it's got a Blazer. If I'm not mistaken, it's like a Blazer.
Blazer floor pan or something.
Blazer floor pan.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, no, Poland's cool. I mean, I go over to Gdansk fairly regularly and do a bit of work over that way.
Cheers to Gdańsk.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What a beautiful city.
Well, not Gdańsk, fuck Gdańsk. I'm from Gdynia.
Yeah.
Which is like the 2 towns before.
Yeah.
Before Gdańsk. But Gdańsk is amazing.
Yeah, beautiful town. But yeah, a friend of mine, Walter, gets me over to do a bit of work on a few old VWs. He sources these really old VWs, and there's some fantastic body guys over that way. Yeah. Really awesome metal guys around that area. So,
but I think there's 2 spectrums in Poland. I think there is very high class, the actual Polish work that everyone
unbelievable
talks
That
about.
was about, yeah.
Or there is the drunken fucking Derek. Yeah, that just bangs 3 times of filler and stuff.
Well, I suppose you're allowed to say that, but yeah, I mean, I think that applies to virtually anywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
We've all done a bit of that.
Yeah.
Oh shit, the A pillar, yeah, that'd be alright.
Yeah.
A little bit of filler will
It's not
make it.
structural. Yeah.
No, we've all done that. We've all done that. But yeah, so yeah, that is.
That van that you did out there was the bodywork on that was phenomenal.
Yeah, Christoph, guys, the metal guy's called Christoph, and yeah, first class metalwork. Better, I haven't seen better. Let's put it that way.
Laser straight, wasn't it?
Beautiful.
Absolutely laser straight.
Yeah,
On an old air cooled van.
yeah, and I think that's where a lot. Certainly in the past, the misunderstandings about people's.
In Poland.
Yeah. Let's say bit of in a bit of. Yeah.
That's insane.
Real pleasure. I always look forward to going there, and you always learn something.
Poland's amazing. It is rich.
Yeah, it's a wicked country.
Politically, it's
I'm
fucked.
looking forward to my invite for the next job. To get
Just
dragged
go
on
there.
it.
Just go
No, for the next job,
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. I'll probably drive there next time anyway, so you can hop along. Yeah.
It'd be easier and cheaper.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Politically, it's
fucked.
Yeah. Is it do not?
Dudek or fucking whatever.
Yeah, he's a bit. He's too right, and he.
I don't understand.
It's not it's president, right? We don't we've got prime minister, we've got president. He's just a class A cunt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they banned abortion and
Yeah, it's
like all the LGBT and all of that shit's like a no.
Really?
Yeah, it's really run by the church.
Yeah, it reminds me of what's been happening in the States, like
It's
DeSantis and all
it's
that.
literally like that.
You know,
It's run by the church,
yeah.
Catholic Church or
Catholic, yeah. Yeah, I think Catholic, yeah, Christian.
yeah? Because
I don't know. Whatever. When did you get like first communion? Is that Christian?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
Catholic, isn't it? It's a
Catholic,
Catholic country.
yeah.
Yeah,
Catholic,
100%.
Yeah, Catholic.
Yeah,
And they're the fuckers that go to church every fucking Sunday, and they give the fucking priest like 100 zloty, 200 zloty. It's like, there you go. There's more money for you to go and molest more kids. Yeah. And then they buy out they literally. So there was
that
there's
is
one
not
guy.
that is not every church in every part of Poland. I mean, let's face it.
Right, I'm
I
talking
think-
about the majority.
Yeah. Well,
I hate it.
you're
I
welcome
hate
to that view. I mean, I think
Let's not get political.
No, don't. I mean, it's
we'll cut that bit out.
Let's not get political. But yeah,
it's
other than that, Poland's beautiful.
it is a beautiful place, and
People are nice.
yeah, and such a good standard of living. Tons more space. You got. It's a really neat country,
Yeah.
and I think so underestimated. It's been pushed around by Europe for so many hundreds of years, and
Yeah,
I think actually it's getting its chance to.
Germans and the Russians.
Yeah,
But I think they're coming up on top. They've got a strong economy now as well.
yeah,
so
it's wicked.
cool.
It's wicked, and it looks it. You know, having watched it change over the years, even over the last 10 years, it's the infrastructure's better than here sometimes. You know,
It is.
you know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you drove the same road I drive every single day.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like how. And people report that stuff. I'll sometimes report a pothole, and that was been like 2 months ago. Like,
Yeah.
then you
No, but you.
pay tax, which is outrageous. You guys pay TFL charges, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
Everything.
The roads are still shit.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's naughty. But you go, let's say it is, the standard of living's there. You go to Crystal's house, he's got a beautiful house he built himself. He's only a regular guy, but
you don't have to
plot.
be anything special to have your own dream, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So I say when people talk about, it's always been talked down here in my lifetime anyway. It was people never had much to think of Eastern
things
Bloc
only started
countries.
coming up about 10 years ago
Yeah,
when people started going to like Krakow for stag do's, and then obviously they were their parents, and the parents would go and
Krakow's a beautiful city.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Me and Ollie know something about Krakow, don't we?
What, you've got a shit tattoo from them?
Yeah. I've got a tattoo that spells Sam Stag Do, Krakow 20 something.
Sam's now divorced.
Sam's now divorced, and Krakow is spelled wrong.
Oh no, really? Oh,
It's Krakow wrong in Krakow.
dear.
That's brilliant.
It sort of says, it starts off English and then goes to Polish halfway through. It's like Krakow.
Were they drunk as well?
No, we got. Oh well, we were. Oh, well, I was at the time when I was getting it done. But yeah, Krakow's a nice place.
Yeah. No, so.
So
Yeah,
later, it's on my leg. It's still here.
you've got a Polish tattoo on your leg.
And he's divorced.
Sam's divorced now. Yeah, that's when my girlfriend's gone and get the nails done by his ex-missus. Yeah, it's all over. Don't worry. But so when did you pick up the magic brush for the first time?
Well, I think that when going back to that silly little Tony Nancy model of the dragster, I think right back to that, I was definitely taken by the paint and the custom paint. And I remember getting my dad to take me to, bless him, he did used to take me to Alexandra Palace where you had the custom shows and that. And I remember being completely taken aback by the paint and sucked in by it. So I bought a brush up at Auto Parts, American Auto Parts, and I bought an airbrush up there. So that was sort of, I was definitely around 14-ish then. And they had some great books, which I remember buying them, like Peterson Publishing. They used to do these how-to books on how to make flares or spoilers and that. But they also had like lots of custom paint ones. So I bought one or two of them, and I've still got one of them. And so 14, 15, I definitely had brushes. I definitely had paints like in Humbrol enamels. That I was at least trying to do it. And then I remember had a guy somehow or other asked me to paint a dragster for him, which was a fella called Robin Wilby. And that was a blown Pontiac dragster. And I was about 16 then.
How young?
Yeah.
And
And my dad, and again,
someone let you paint their car.
yeah, my dad had a decent sized garage down the side of the house, and I remember him putting a couple of not RSJs, a couple of wood lengths across the garage so we could put this dragster body on it. And I painted it. It was ropey, but I remember the owner being a little bit disappointed, but that was my first cracker. Yeah.
No.
I was still playing with Action Man.
I can't remember because the thing is, you only
There was no mobile phones. There was no
nothing.
internet.
There was nothing. It was like,
So it must have been word of mouth.
yeah, and it was before I started painting anything like Speedworth cars, so I can't really remember. But somehow or other he found me, and I was so keen that I would have said anything to do it. I know that. So didn't have a clue. Didn't have a compressor. Didn't have a paint gun. So we did.
You sprayed it.
Yeah, whole thing.
What?
I thought you meant.
Sprayed
was selling-
I
it
thought
was
you meant
selling.
it was already sprayed and you lettered it.
No.
So you sprayed it as well.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, everything. And it wasn't good, but it was yeah. And again, I sort of probably ought to apologise to that guy. Robin Wilby was his name, and he was gracious. But
How much did you charge him?
I don't think I charged him. I just wanted to do it.
Well, 'cause
And
you think he's disappointed face.
that's the story of my life. The amount of jobs, the
Yeah,
amount of cars,
freebies.
the amount of cars I painted for free,
Or subsidised.
just because I wanted to do them. But yeah, so that was just keenness taking over there. So that was about 16, and then after I came back from the States, I enrolled at Marylebone College in West London, which is where I met Mand, Jacob's mum, who. Yeah, we got married eventually and had a fantastic time. Yeah, and Jacob was a result very early on, which was wonderful. He was, well, he's all right. But yeah, so yeah, but that was really early on. I mean,
How old was you when you had Jacob then?
I was 21, real young. Yeah.
So, well, no, I mean, you were basically the same kind of era as my mum and my dad.
Yeah.
And
You would be, yeah.
yeah, they were. My dad was 22 and my mum was 21. So he was different back in the day, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was no thinking or planning or anything like that. We weren't.
I can see the common fucking thing here.
I didn't learn from it either. 'Cause
Well, you're not with his mum anymore. Nor is my dad with my mum anymore. Because they had us at such a young age.
I'm not with my daughter's mum anymore, so
No, you're not.
no.
We see. I'm still together.
But we've had we
She might not come back.
Yeah, took you another one.
no. We've had a great time, and we still get on. We'll still get on.
Yeah.
But I think that was a wonderful time. Wonderful time that we had. That college was right by Olympia, so like I say, everything I've done has always been based around London, West London or Central London, and
Pretty much wherever you went, there were cars.
there was all good stuff. There was real good education. Then really, like this college was the absolute making of me and Mand. I think we had
So what did you study?
sign writing course,
Sign writing course.
sitting guilds 5 days a week. Like it was a short Friday,
Yeah.
but 5 days a week, learning how to sign write with a
Wouldn't exist in that
yeah, it
place,
was
would it?
No. I don't think there is such a thing as
No.
sign. Because I know for a fact if there is such a thing, my son's going to do that because it's a dying art.
You'll probably find the closest thing to it would be like graphic design,
yeah.
like typography within it.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near.
But we were really lucky. We were really lucky because that was 84, so it was a 1 year course, full time course. So it was really drilled into you how to. We might not have been really excellent sign writers at the end of it, but we knew what we were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
We were taught really well, and the lecturers, it was John Gibbs and Bill Stewart, and these guys knew their stuff, and they were really wonderful and just a great grounding in that trade. So by the time we came out, we could paint, and we were sort of early 20s. And it was just, but it was just
trade in your hand.
Yeah. But it was just as the computers were coming out, the sign computers, vinyl, and they were just coming out, and I think we both got our feet in the door at a couple of sign firms. Manny went out to West London, and I was in South London near Streatham, and got a couple of years of sort of apprenticeship just before the computers really took hold. So we definitely got enough skills to.
How did the computers change your industry?
Completely. I mean, like that where I was working in Streatham, when I started, there was like 13, 14 sign writers there, full-time people, because like a builder's site board, say for a building site, you didn't have them all outputted on plastic sheet with digital print. Every single one of them was painted plywood. So you had to paint a plywood.
Every single one,
and then sign write them. So every Waits estate, every Barratt Homes estate, everything was hand painted. There wasn't a single thing outputted because it didn't exist.
Company vans as well.
Yeah,
Builders' vans, they're all
everything was hand painted. Every van, Joe Blogg's builder, or
See, I don't even know those days.
it's unbelievable. It's hard to realise, but that's what it was like. And I can't believe that was in my lifetime, because I still feel quite young. But you realise it was a long time ago. So, wow, real good experience. But like at the start, firms like that, they might have had 10, 15 sign writers. After the computers came out, you'd only need 2 or 3. So it did devastate it. And
so how have you managed to cling on at those times? Was you just so good, and you've always had a job? Or
keen? No. I think maybe a story of my life is just being keen, really, liking the job and being passionate about it. So that will serve you quite well. So I wasn't about to give it up. There wasn't anything giving it up. But to earn a living, me and Mans, we did eventually set up our own sign firm.
Yes.
We were both working. We worked for these firms, then worked for ourselves, and then set up a little business and ProSign. And then we did anything, trucks and buses and vans and stuff, and we did really well at it. But it was a balance. Gradually, it went more and more towards the vinyl, because that was the way you could make a living. And then we had Jacob to feed, and then.
So you started your own business,
and then 2 more children. Just after Jacob was born, really, and so this is mid-80s, and then and then we had 2 more children, Marcus and Olivia, and
Marcus.
and you need to work, you need to earn some money.
Yeah, I've met Marcus. I have.
He's a good guy, but once you've got kids, you need to feed them, you need to make money, and we just ended up on that treadmill of banging out lots of sign work and sign writing, painting shops and stuff like that. And always managed to keep a bit of a balance between the two. And yeah, Mandy was really into. She was air cooled from the day she started driving. So I think by the 90s she wanted a bug, so we built a bug. My friend Kev Jenks welded the floor pan up for us, and the body was painted down at Streatham Crash, put this bug together, and then we started getting work from the VW thing. So,
sign writing
and striping and bit of custom paint and stuff like that. That started. So that was all down to Man, really.
That's when I started remembering that I was in school, secondary school, like year 7.
Are you solely responsible for the VW pinstriping scene in the UK?
No, that's that's always been. No, you have to remember, like early 80s, there was all the South End lot and the paint box and stuff like that. They were already doing all that sort of stuff. So there was a massive VW scene in Britain in the early 80s, which I just wasn't into it. I was into the V8 stuff, mainly V8 street strip cars.
No, into V8 stuff.
I was well into the
VW.
I was well into the V8 stuff. And Mandy was. Mandy was full bore air cooled, and while I wasn't mad about bugs. I used to love 914s, the little Porsche, the VW Porsche 914s. I used to really like them as a kid, like Fiat X19s. I used to love all that stuff. Bugs, I didn't really get it back then. And then once we started getting into, we did that bug for Mandan, little black bug, and people loved it. I did a bit of pinstriping on the back, and she did checkers over the roof and stuff like that. And it really got it when we took it to shows like the Peppercorn and stuff like that, and it was really popular. And then suddenly people started noticing what we did, so that led to us doing some buses, VW buses. Like we had what did we do? The Splitty.
66
Bought a
split
Splitty
from Austria, wasn't it?
No, I bought that. I flew over to
Was it Austria?
Frankfurt. Yeah,
Frankfurt.
bought that in Frankfurt. Drove that home.
It was a Firebus.
Firebus X.
What? Split screen.
Split screen, 66.
Yeah, blue light on the top.
Yeah.
18,000 miles from Nuth, so 30,000 k.
Yeah.
Been in a fire station its whole life. Our man found that. If it was,
Did you keep it original?
oh Christ, no! I mean, we would be shot. What we
Lasted
did,
about 10 minutes.
what we did with to that, but I mean, low. You know, we rode it around original at first.
V8.
It was always getting pulled in that for the blue light.
Well, because it's
yeah,
I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then that gradually, I think Mandy painted fake wood down the side, made it a bit of a woody. That was really cool. And then we really started to dump it on the floor. I mean, we bought some drop spindles back from California a holiday once.
Bring
Dropped it
it
down.
back in your luggage.
Yeah, we chopped it down, took it to a friend of mine, Clarkey and Dino. They over in Woking. We had like a sort of 24, 48 hour period where they put the drop spindles on for me, because I wasn't really that. I hadn't done King and Link pin stuff and that, and he really knew. He's so clever at that stuff. One night we lowered this thing down so much, and it was gradually the tyres were coming up through the floor.
top.
So we cut the floor out either side. We took the
You
single.
have to take the seats up, right?
No. That was just it. We took the single seat out, but so you had a single seat and a double seat. Took the single seat out, moved the double seat into the middle, and had the wheels. So the wheels gradually, as the evening went on, and you chopped a bit of it more.
Was that on a
out.
T2 or T1?
T1, so a splitty.
So on a T2, right? If I'm correct if I'm wrong. Your pedals are there, and your steering wheel's there, right? On a T2.
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah. You're slightly offset. I mean, you're down. Your feet are down either side of the column. Yeah.
Yes,
So your clutches,
think it's
clutches
like
over.
this,
Yeah, thinking about it, your
or
clutches
that
over
way.
to the left side of the column, I think. But on this one, you were sitting slightly in the middle. This is the same day, so that Clark, you put the spindles on, and I think they'd already done the back. I think they'd already cut and we'd put got rid of the
You have to tab it, right?
pardon?
You have to tab the.
Well, the front. No, that was just it. We cut the front out, and I drove it home from Clarkie's with the wheels sitting there and my left arm wired to the window, because if I dropped my arm down, it would have been chopped off. But honestly, what an idiot!
Well, it's a left-hand drive, right?
It was left-hand drive,
Yeah.
so. But literally, I drove it back from Woking round the M25 back to Sutton with the tyre there. Crikey, it was stupid. And we literally tin snipped the floor out and grind it and cut it so it wasn't cleaned up. It was just to get it home. Yeah, that was so stupid, but
It's brilliant.
it was wicked. But then
That's fucking brilliant.
so that bus was that gradually, and funny enough, Dave Gibbons made me some tubs and we welded them in, and gradually that got cleaned up. Mandy did between us we did a candy flower roof on that, which was very well received and was really popular. And then that was it. We sort of got known for doing a bit of custom paint, some sign writing. You know, it was a real team effort. It was good. You know, it was a real
days.
team effort. Yeah, fun. And that just led on to you couldn't stop that really once it got going. We're doing all sorts of VW race cars and that with a paint box. Who were brilliant. We've had
You do a lot of stuff.
yeah, it was such a lot of fun. Real brilliant time, sort of early 2000s, and wicked time. Yeah.
So when did Jacob come into holding his first paintbrush?
Well, he from where I saw it, he wasn't even really that interested. He was into other types of cars. Really, he wasn't really into. He didn't come into the workshop much then and that. But then gradually, once as he got
Because you
older,
said you wanted Not until 5.
Well, I used to see, I used to see him working. You know, you were up at 6 or 7 in the morning, and he'd be home. So we had a workshop in the back garden. So if you're working out late, he'd be home or back in the house at 12:30, 1 in the morning most nights. And I was like, that's a mugs game.
Every night.
Every
that
night.
was every
So
night.
to me,
But that's the thing. If you really, really love what you're doing,
Yeah.
and I think especially in the creative side of businesses, right? I think people just go and go and go until they literally just think, right, I have to go to sleep so I can wake up at 6
I'm
o'clock.
still doing it. I mean, we've just finished Phil's car for the Volkswagen show. He's just built. He's an old friend who I paint cars with. He's got the unit next door. I've moved a unit next door to him. He's just finished this beautiful race bug, proper serious race bug, and we've just done the last 6 weeks on it non-stop. You know,
What, 6 weeks on one car?
yeah. Not every day, but I mean, that's been 1 a.m. midnight, 1 a.m.
I would not want to get that invoice from you.
No.
No,
that was a private arrangement. No, we're sort of that's just a
fucking jump out the window head first.
oh my god, yeah, I know it is a sort of paint job you couldn't really afford to do. It's such a lot of effort, but it was just all fun. Two mates painting the car. That's it.
But that's
as
how you,
far as
that's
the
how
passion.
passion, and that's
Yeah.
how bonds and relationships get
But-
created.
But getting back to Jake, that hasn't changed. So maybe he saw us.
well, no, I used to see him doing that, and I think to myself, it's a mugs game. I don't want to go out and who wants to be up at 6, 7 in the morning
Right in front of me,
and
that it's a
finish
fucking
work
max
at,
game.
finish work at 1 in the morning as like I was like, no, I want a normal job. I want a 9 to 5 or whatever. I want to make loads of money, and you do that in an office. That's
No,
what
you don't.
That's what I was programmed to
They
think.
don't do that in the office.
But then I did. So getting on to when he had me, the same thing with me. I was 22 when my daughter came, and yeah, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had no skill at the time, so I just became a bus driver. So I was a London bus driver for 7 or 8 years, and although it has its good days, I was like, this is not life. There's more to life than this.
There's something a little bit more meaningful.
Yeah. So all the while I was thinking I want to work with cars, but I didn't know how. I didn't have the skill, but I didn't realise that I did have the skill to a degree.
I mean,
Because
you got fucking one of the best sign writers in England here.
within, like all the years gone by, you look back, you think I'd take my dad a cup of tea, and then you'd chat and you'd have me masking or, taping certain things out or just watching. And I absorbed it. It was like 3 lessons. So it came really easy to me when the time came later in my life.
To
I
pick
wanted
up
to
the
do
brush.
It did seem it was quite odd in a way because it did seem like there was just a point where it clicked and it was sort of like, hang on a second, I fancy doing this.
So I did I did recruitment. Like I said, I thought office job. A good friend of mine, he got into recruitment. He makes crazy money, and I thought, yeah, I want a bit of that because
But then you're starting that fucking rat race, right?
So well, this is it. I did 8 months.
You've got no fucking freedom.
I did 8 months of it, and I was on 20 grand a year. So at the time, I was the sole earner, paying for pretty much everything. It was everything that came in went out, and I got called in the office one morning. It was a Friday, and I got called in by the director, and I was good friends with my manager. He sat next to me, really nice guy. He was, and they said, this isn't working out. And the moment the director said that, my manager burst out into tears. He was livid. And the amount of relief I felt, because I was never going to quit, because I had my daughter. She would have been 7 or 8 at that
So
point.
you were kind of happy that someone else made that decision for you.
So I got sacked by 9:30 in the morning. By the time the pub next door, the Bedford in East Croydon, by the time they were open at just after 10, I was in there. I had a pint. I called him up.
Celebrating.
Yeah, and I said to Dad, I was like, I want to learn the trade. Like, teach me. And he said, I think I can fit you in. There's a couple of things I can get you. And he said, I can't promise you, a wage or whatever, but I can give you a bit of money here and there, or whatever. But you come and learn it if you want to do it. I said, I want to work with cars. I did a full circle. Like, I wanted to run away from it. Didn't want to get involved.
Yeah.
But didn't realise that.
It's in your blood.
Exactly.
It's programmed.
Exactly.
Neil's planted the seed, and mate, this
Well,
is
no, and
just
his mum, and his mum, and the
Yeah.
people that were around us.
Everyone,
Somehow or other, there was an
Always at a
environment.
car show, always drag racing, whatever.
so as much as you wanted, you could never.
Yeah, I got drawn into it.
Yeah.
So, and also surrounded by a lot of good people. The people that we work with. I mean, although it was difficult, and there was some of them were not quite as nice as you'd hope, but a lot of the people that were around us were really sort of all wonderful people. So I think possibly
Especially
you
the
might have seen.
VW community.
Absolutely,
It's-
VW and the VW and the drag racing particularly. There's some just absolutely golden people who've made my life. That's for sure. And been a really good influence. Really good influence. So
Pardon me.
so I think once it did seem like there was a flick of a switch, and he sort of came in, and then
So how long did it take to
I
actually?
can't remember how it worked. I can't remember what we did.
Well,
but
a lot of
you'd
it I knew
remember
I knew the
really.
theory of, but like I'd almost had it drummed into me that you know what's right. So with custom paint and stuff like that, you can look at it and say that doesn't suit the car's wrong era or whatever. So
Yeah.
I didn't even realise that he taught me all of that. I just
You
kind of
just
knew
never knew about.
Yeah,
not all of it,
yeah,
but
it's funny.
I
Isn't it?
knew a fair bit of it.
It's what they call it, passive learning.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, maybe. Well, that would be a good description. I've never heard of that term, but yeah,
passive learning.
yeah.
And then you pick up it on the job as you go along. So we would go to custom paint jobs. We painted quite. I was quite lucky actually. We did quite a lot of drag cars in that period of time, so it was very creative and that. And I remember dropping something. You got me to drop something to Carl, a place called Panelcraft in South Croydon, Purley. And he's a good friend of Dad's, and he's just a body shop, so he does crash repairs, stuff like that.
But super creative as well.
Yeah,
if you think
so
about it,
he builds hot rods, chop stuff, and that in his spare time. But his bread and butter is panel beating, and crash repairs. And
Stolen cars.
no, he's above.
no, he's a good guy. One man band, so it's just him on his own. He's got a spray booth, and it's just normal, normal
Guy.
normal cars and that. But obviously he likes I think he's built. What is he building? A 51 Chevy at the moment.
Yeah, really early 50s
Beautiful,
Chevy, and
really
but have you seen his bobber? He's done like a custom Triumph custom. It's
Clever,
beautiful. It's
really
beautiful.
clever guy. He's mad. He's a great guy. So I dropped something down. You got me to drop something to him, and he goes, why are you fucking around with your old man doing all that arty farty paintwork? He goes, you want to learn a real trade like this? He goes, and that's what he's like. He's funny like that, and he goes, oh fuck all that. He goes, you want to paint? He goes, you want to paint proper cars? He goes, I bet you don't even know how to spray properly, all that fancy masking stuff. He goes, are you interested? You want to learn it? And I said, yeah. He was all right, cool. He goes, you start next week. Pick a day and come in.
So he's basically stole your fucking son away from you.
No, because I still did
No,
work
but
with him.
It was great time because there does come a point where I think
You
you did
had
a day or
enough of
2 a
him?
week, didn't you?
Yeah,
Or
a
did you?
couple of days a week.
Where
Were you guys too close and you were just getting?
well, I think that not really. We've always got along quite well. We have our moments, but I mean, I do think there does get that point where you do need quite a lot of other skills. I've not ended up at what we do. We're not just sign writers and stuff. You end up designers. You do have to be able to prime and paint stuff and do a clear coat. And it was a really good timing for him because
a lot of the work you did as well, I wasn't required all the time, so it slotted in well. So I would do a couple of days a week with him, a couple of days with him, but he taught me the fundamentals of prepping a panel.
Yeah.
Getting a panel straight.
And I'm no prep guy. I mean, I'm lucky to have had one or two really great people in my life who've always been great at doing that, and it's a skill set on its own. Just getting a car
Prep,
straight, getting a car prep.
Well, as they say, it's all in the prep.
Makes
right?
a paint job. You can have the best paint job on it.
It's with anything.
Best paint job on it. If it isn't been prepped right and it's not straight, you might as well pack up and go home.
100%.
So yeah,
100%.
so that was good. It was a good time. Good timing for
And
it.
also in today's society, a lot of insurance, like accredited body shops, they cut the panel out, they put a new panel on.
Yeah.
And I was taught old school, you know, you
Beat the panel,
pin pull, beat the panel. So I was taught by an old school panel beater. You know, you get it into a really good shape, small skimmer filler, if that, you know, and that was it. I was really
lead
lucky.
filling as well, or
No, but there was a couple of jobs we took lead out actually of his 51. I remember that really clearly because I I was sick as a dog, sick as a dog taking the lead out of his the C pillars on his 51 coupe. But no, that was really he didn't I was a big expense to him taking me on. I slowed him down a lot and that but he just liked me and wanted to teach me. And I was really lucky.
like a mentor.
Yeah. And I was late in life as well. I was like 27, 26, 27. So I was really lucky that he was just like...
So that must have been, what, like 10 years ago?
Yeah. 9 years ago. So.
Mate, fucking hell. Rah.
Yeah, you did really well.
And then off the back of that... Sorry, yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say...
Off the back of that, I do... That's what I do now. I do panel beating. I do smart repairs. So, you know...
And you still help your old man out?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've just been doing a 34, doing a flame job. He brings a good skill set. I can leave him to prep up a car because I get pulled left, right, and centre all in all sorts of ways. You can leave Jake to prep a car up properly, really well. He knows how to lay it in, and when it comes to like a flame job, you've got to be really careful and pretty meticulous. And I can leave him. I'll tape out a flame job, mark it out, cut one side. He'll flip it and get it out on the other side. It's really good skills, and that isn't an accident. It's taken quite a long time for him to learn how to do that, and he's really good at it. And it's quite neat, really, because you know, flame jobs was never something you could make any money at 20, 30 years ago, and now it's part of the business, and it's quite nice for him if he want, you know, if in the future he wanted to do it, maybe he still could.
Pass on the baton.
It's cool.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we have laugh. It's quite nice because we get pulled in different directions all the time. You get a project like this over a period of a month or 6 weeks. It's really nice. Yeah.
Spend some time together.
Yeah. It's been quite a few of them.
Was it the Boston Brawler? When was that? Last summer.
Start of COVID.
Yeah, well,
it
went on for a long time. That one. That was a big job.
Yeah. We'd finished it, and he couldn't even come and pick it up. Because of lockdown. Yeah, but
custom full tilt custom paint on a what was it 33
Willis. Yeah, I painted it years ago for what is now a friend at Valley Gas speed shop, and Jimmy, and painted it originally a long time ago, or sign wrote it, and then it's come back with a new owner. And we did a full paint job, and that was fun to do. Me and Jake and Phil, next door. Yeah.
But it's funny when you were asking how I got into it as well. I must have been destined as well, because obviously in the back garden, in the workshop, he was always doing custom. It was only custom paint, custom sort of stuff. So, and I took it for granted.
It's abnormal.
Yeah, nothing normal, and I took it for granted. It was just like, okay, yeah, there's a 51 Mercury in the garden, or whatever. But also as part of my childhood, I was always at Streatham Crash Repair after school. So you'd always take me to after school or on weekends or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's another story.
Which was a big body shop in Streatham, and I was always there. I remember always being there. So, and I hated being there because it was so boring. I couldn't do anything. Pardon?
Did you have to do it?
Well, no, I just got dragged along. It's like childcare. There was no such thing as childcare back then. You just got picked up for school.
Sit in the van and eat your Twix.
Yeah, eat your Twix, read your magazine. That was it. But I don't realise now. You don't realise until later in life how I was really lucky to be around that, around the people.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the guys who used to work there, a guy called Steve Bradshaw, we work with him now. You know, he's 70 now, and
you don't say that publicly. He's very young at heart, Steve.
Yeah.
But wicked paint. Yeah, Steve gave me he was the first person to put a proper paint gun tray in my hand. After
he taught you how to paint.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, having sort of had a few false starts. Yeah, Steve taught me to paint properly. Yeah.
He still pulls me up. He'll go.
What's that?
He'll go.
Yeah.
Is that finished?
Yeah, mate.
But he's brilliant. But he's
Mate, you can never buy experience.
Yeah. He's one of the best painters, if not probably the.
Yeah, the first class painter.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Lighted table. What a good idea.
Yeah. So
was that your idea? Or is that,
No,
you buy it?
No, that was all my idea. That was all me. Everything.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Done it work?
Yeah. No, it's actually got.
So you've bolted in and you've even bolted, you must have bolted in a membrane or a seal or
What, in between?
in between.
No, tiger seal.
Oh, really?
No, actually, no, it's CT1.
That's brilliant.
You can't fucking. That's it. You never. be
Nothing
able
will
to
go
split
out of
that,
it.
Yeah. But these are originally from a Lamborghini Diablo.
Yeah.
Original dishes, yeah, from the Lamborghini Diablo. They came on the OZs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So I was actually going to put these dishes on that, and I did put them on, and even with these wider arches, he just didn't fit. So
when did you first build that? Is that how long have you had it?
2016.
Okay. So all right. So when I first knew you.
2016, yeah.
It's right.
Not that long after you first met.
After I'm done.
Yeah.
Because I might get too.
And it cool car. And do you still take it out?
Unique.
Or in the summer you will?
I took out the Yav a couple of weeks. I took out the Yav 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Symptoms.
First time with the kid in the back.
Let's see if I can go.
Excellent.
I took Hector in the back. My missus was in the back with him, obviously.
Yeah.
But he loved it. Like every time we revved the engine up and banged off the limits up, it was like,
I brought him back from the hospital when we had Jacob.
In the footwell of a Mark 1.
We shoved him in a baby seat in the footwell of the Escort.
What, in the front footwell, yeah?
Yeah, front footwell, just jammed
Part of
it.
the car that would have crushed me in an impact.
Literally, yeah, that was probably the worst position you could have been in.
Things were different back then. I spent my childhood sitting on your sign box in the back of your van,
Yeah.
sliding about in the back. It was a two-seat van. What was it? Escort van.
The blue van, little blue van. Yeah. Yeah.
And
See-
I sat on your sign box, on his sign box, wooden sign box.
Well, we did put. There was a proper seat in between, bolted in actually in the back there. There was, yeah. Yeah.
Or Mum's Suzuki, the little Jeep thing, was
Yeah.
custom painted. I sat on the wheel arch at the back.
That's amazing. Like,
But that was the 90s.
Yes, you
90s.
know, I can tell you some stories back from Poland. The shit we used to do back then. It was just. If you do that now, people would definitely report you to civil services,
100%.
social services, however it's called.
Yeah.
I would have definitely been taken away.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant.
I used to drive. When I was 11 years old. I used to drive.
Snap.
My nan used to let me drive. I don't know if we can put this in the podcast.
Of course you can. It's been long enough. I mean, they can't take you away from him now. You're too old, isn't
No, I'm 36.
He's
now.
got fucking Neil's gonna get down for child negligence.
no, but he didn't know. He didn't know. My nan used to let me drive,
Nah.
so I used to drive.
Yeah, it's neat. It's neat.
I used to drive only down to the local shops and back, like the local neighbourhood. So I grew up.
He looks like it's the first time he's hearing about this. He's
Yeah,
like,
no, I don't care.
right,
I mean,
me and you are gonna walk out.
he's still alive. He's still
He's
alive.
gonna get a fucking backhander.
He's still alive.
Are we filming it on? Yeah, no. So obviously I spent weekends. So my nan and my auntie, they lived in Kingston, so I used to go Kingston on the weekends. And yeah, my auntie Juliet didn't know, but my nan, she used to let me drive. I used to drive, like, she taught me. She was the one who taught me how to drive. I learned to drive in a left-hand drive Rabbit.
Mark
The
Golf.
yellow one?
Two.
Mark 2.
No,
that
the
you-
white one. Don't quote me on this. I feel like it was 3-speed, but maybe 4-speed.
4-speed.
Four
Would have
speed.
been a 4. If
It
it
was
was
left-
like a 1.1 or something, you would have been a
1.3.
4-speed.
It was a 1.3. It was a Rabbit, white Mark II Golf, and I learned to drive in that. So I learned to
That's
drive
really-
on private land when
really
I was
cool.
11, and then when I knew
Private land to the shops, yeah?
no, genuinely private land. I learned how to drive private land, and then when I could drive, she let me drive to the shops. So I used to drive her to around Kingston all the time, up until I was like 15, 16.
Neil, did you know?
No, I didn't.
They didn't know.
I didn't know.
What, to today, or have you known
But
about
my
it?
nan,
No,
she's
no, I
nuts.
didn't know.
She's nuts. So bless her.
Is that from your mum's side or your...
Yeah, she's mental, absolutely mental.
And what is it?
And that was completely different because we grew up in like Wallet and Croydon area and so going to Kingston was really nice. It was different like way of life and yeah, it was laid back. We used to drive. That's all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do. I used to drive. Want to drive. And I remember one of my auntie's customers. He had a brand new Carrera 4S, and it was on a 53 plate because he just binned a Carrera 2S. He kicked out in a guardrail, wrote it off. So he was like, "No, I want a 4S," and he let me drive it on this private land. He let me launch it.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I'll never forget that. And ever since then, I've always wanted a Porsche. Always wanted a 911. So that's my target.
What, 964 or?
I like all of them. I'd love a 964, but they're just crazy money. I think realistically, a manual 997, I'm happy with that.
See, I like the 997.
Yeah, they're beautifully built.
They're
nice.
cheap.
Yeah.
They're cheap.
Good
I mean,
bang
you
for
could
buck.
easily sell your van and buy fucking 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, but I couldn't spray cars out the back of my 996. No, I could.
You could.
I could put a compressor on the back seat.
No, you could put you could put a compressor in a frunk.
Yeah, no, I need
Frunk?
100
What they call it,
litres, so I'll have to go on the back seat. Oh, I might do that.
It's cheaper. 997s are fucking
Cheaper than my
dirt.
van, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's-
absolutely. 997s are dirt cheap. 996s are start coming up in them.
They're not, are they really?
Yeah. I don't know why, because they're fucking ugly.
I like them.
What, you like that busticated fucking
Love them.
front headlight?
I'm drawn to ugly cars. I like ugly cars.
I like ugly cars. I like old Metros.
They're not ugly. I mean, the moment you see them in a circuit race, they look really cool. You know, they're
What, the 996?
not even the 996s, but I mean,
It's fantastic.
yeah, they are.
Oh, it's just the front headlight.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's a bit awkward, but actually, when you see them in a race livery and on the wheels and
We know
they
someone who's
they
got
look awesome.
an X-Cup car, and it's just like one of the best looking race cars ever. Fucking awesome.
Right.
Yellow headlights, really bright. The car's like the base color is white, but it's got fantastic, like wicked graphics all over it. Yeah, you can't beat it, and their sound.
No.
Yeah.
It's not convincing.
No,
No, I know what you mean. I mean, the 997s are really quite elegant looking cars.
The other thing I like is BMs. I love a BM.
No.
Not BM, man.
A daily driver, yeah. An old E30, beautiful looking car, shit performance.
Yeah, they're not great. I want a
It's
2002.
too hyped up.
I want an old 2002.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his nan had one. It just goes to show how times have changed. His nan had a green 2002 Touring that was just a runabout. It was just a runabout, what you could get hold of.
I'd kill for one of
I
them.
think
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah, but it's same as you said, like buying escorts back in the day, and people used to take
everywhere.
them around
There was-
fucking fields and
There's 5 in every road.
yeah. But now, if you see an escort, you basically creaming your pants because
Yeah,
you haven't
yeah.
seen one in such a long time.
Tell them about your school teacher.
Yeah, I had a fantastic Spanish teacher, Mr. McDermott.
Talk about missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I know, crikey.
Because she was Spanish.
No, no, he was a brilliant teacher, and I enjoyed the lessons. But anyway, he had a dirty yellow forest arched Mark 1 Escort. Mexico. It was a Mexico.
Fucking genuine Mexico.
Yeah. Full tilt car. A teacher, yeah. But it was.
So it's like basically a teacher owning the equivalent of a Golf R.
Yeah, something like that. Well, I
Or
suppose.
like a GTI Club Sport, I would say. Slightly different. Do you know what I mean? Like, you would like
That,
the
right,
cars
that shit would never happen.
I don't
these
think it
days.
was that highfalutin. I don't think it was that flash, because it was still a bit of a boy racer car considered then. But it was a genuine Mexico, and he used to drive to school in it. And then it broke down. It was in the car park, and the headmaster had sort of said to him, "Look, you need to move the car." And he knew I was into my cars, and I think he'd got the money to go and get something newer. And it was an older car, but this was sort of late. This was late 70s, this was early 80s, about 80. It would have been about 80. So it was probably a 10-year-old car. And he said to me, "You don't want it, do you?"
It's like 100 quid or something you wanted.
I can't remember. No, I think he was going to give it to me.
Fuck.
Right, and it was a proper Mexico with arches on it. And
Did you get it?
my dad, because I had that old Triumph, and I had the old Triumph, and I had the other Escort, and my dad said, "You can't have anything else. Cars. You can't bring." And
And how much is a Mexico?
bear in mind,
150 grand?
Yeah.
everything I had, everything I had was always being worked on. So there was always parts of it. He was so patient, my old man, and there was parts everywhere. So it was just like, you're not bringing enough.
Should have fucking got rid of the Triumph.
What was I? No, well, I didn't. Yeah, but again, back then
you never knew.
But there was another 400 escorts in around, so it wasn't like it was that big a deal.
Yeah.
But now,
No, you would have fucking snapped an arm off for that.
Jesus Christ.
yeah, and it was on 40s. It was like I think it was probably a 1600 on 40s, but it was on 40s. So crikey.
Neil, I want to talk to you about one place that you go and paint every single year during Christmas.
Oh, I know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Basically, I'm a big fan of Supreme.
Yeah, I saw the sticker on the dog bowl.
Yeah, yeah. I can't afford a real fucking Supreme dog bowl. They're like 200-300 quid now. I'm not gonna spend that for the dog that's just gonna smash across the floor. How the fuck has that come about? Because it's just cool. That's just
It's mad.
Yeah.
well,
Well,
I mean, you're one of the best fucking sign guys in the UK for sure, if not the best in the world.
well, no, there's lots of great sign people, girls and boys who
I think
all
you're
got different.
He won't say it. He won't say it, but yeah.
You won't say it.
No, I mean,
No, no. You travel all around the world working on amazing projects,
yeah.
right? And to kind of do the Supreme shop, it's kind of a big deal, right?
What's a big deal? When you think your equivalent, what you do, Mr. Cartoons does in LA.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
you paint the window for Christmas at Supreme in London,
yeah,
and someone as big as Mr. fucking Cartoons,
yeah. Paint
he does
Supreme.
one in LA. Like
It's
Yeah,
kind of.
well, it's what it is. I mean, basically, my friend Ben Wilson, who's a designer, I think he's friends with a lot of the Supreme guys. There's a load of skaters. He's a skater. Ben's a skater. Loads of skaters. All the staff in there are all skaters and that, and all really cool young people. And Ben, like he loves what I do, and like we've always done loads of neat little projects together. And he just, I think they were looking for something creative on the Christmas window, and Ben said, "You need to get Neil along," and that's what I did. And it was as simple as that.
So how many years ago was that?
It must have been 10 years ago. I mean, I don't take it for granted that I'm going to get asked back every year, but it's a right laugh for a couple of days. They don't care what I do as long as it's not tasteless or offensive. I could do, and I just paint lines, and it's fun, really fun. And
I've done it a couple of times. It's brilliant fun, and I get what you're saying about like the magnitude of Supreme,
Yeah.
but when you're there, it is just a fun job.
Yeah.
Like, it's a shop window. You're lettering or you're striping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get at is like obviously Supreme's got a massive influence on this generation. Well, it has been for good generations, but like now people just seem to be fucking going berserk, and they queue up outside the shop
It
for like
is
6
crazy.
days to get a fucking t-shirt.
But
I think that's stupid, but
it's not for
fair
no
play to
good
them.
reason, because it's a great product. They've got great products that've got a real following, haven't they? So you can't knock it. You can't knock it.
No, and I think this how I've seen you. Well, first time I've seen your work, about 9 years ago, and I've seen posts like Neil's done this. I'm like, what do you mean Neil's done this? It's like, yeah, Neil's done the Supreme shop.
Yeah. But I think possibly. I'm not saying I didn't get it, but I was coming at it purely from a nice opportunity to go and work in Soho, because I love it all around there. Always have, it's always been the West End's always been part of my world, and to be asked to go in and paint a Christmas window in Christmas, and then you can nip in next door to Bar Bruno and have a breakfast or a lunch. All the security are Parisian security guys, so they're always interesting to talk to, and it's just and the skaters are all cool. Seth, one of the guys there, he's got a couple of Yank cars. It's just a real meeting of minds. It was a really neat thing. And then plus of that, you've got all these people, you're painting behind a window in the middle of Christmas. It's just
nice.
a neat little job.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
A neat little job. And I thank my lucky stars I get asked. I mean, I don't guarantee I'm going to get asked back every year, but they're good people.
Have you got us to come back next year? This year?
Not yet. I mean, we don't normally. I normally phone them up now and just say, just to double check, because it's it's easy to book through there because when I do that, I'm starting to get busy with the race cars for the following year, so I do have to be a bit careful. But I always leave a slot for it. Not that I take it for granted that I'm going to do it, but I always leave a slot for it just because I like doing it. Yeah.
They sort of assume you're coming now. The last few times, it's like,
Yeah, who knows? I mean, yeah, they just
Oh, Neil's back.
yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those freaky jobs. If it weren't for Ben putting a word in for me and him liking my stuff, and that was all through. Yeah, that was all through small cars and bikes and scooters and stuff. So
Rebels Alliance. The Rebels?
no, that was another thing. That was with Dean. But
That was cool.
yeah, it was through scooters. We did some work for Honda as the Zoomies. What's the little
Zoom, Honda Zoom.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've got
Ben,
one though.
yeah, Ben used to do design work for those, so I used to get a bit of a gig there every now and then. Yeah.
So up to date, what do you think has been your biggest work accomplishment?
That's really hard that would be really hard to answer. It's sort of, I think the highlights would be, one of the absolute highlights would be, it's not the highfalutin stuff necessarily, done some real high end stuff, I guess, but the real highlights have been, there was a whole Cowlook VW thing going on in the early 2000s, working with Si at the paint box, with Mandy and with Amanda up there, and Shane, and there was all these people, this whole VW thing of recreating historic race cars for the Gasser Garage. Some of them were original Californian cars coming over from the States that were being restored, because that whole air-cooled race car thing, that the ship had sailed in the States, but over here in Europe, the air-cooled VW Cowlook race thing was massive.
Yeah.
And they were restoring and doing all those cars. We were doing all the paint on them, all bugs with big IDA motors and stuff. Such a cool period. It was bonkers. We were working for the Volkswagen cars for the Volkswagen show, or European bugging, working all hours, not for much money really. Didn't make much money at it. Such a laugh, listening to great music, and yeah, such a lot of fun. And doing your mum's buses. We were doing them at the same time. We were building those buses for with Mandy, and doing we did a bay window with big motor and cool painted it flower roof. That period then was brilliant fun, and there it was a real highlight. Yeah.
Do you miss those times?
Well, yes and no. I mean, no, time moves on, and it seems like you're going 5 or 6 year segments of different energies. Before that, I was doing a lot of circuit stuff that really got me going, and then in between, from sort of 2010 onwards, have been tons of historic race car stuff. That's been another new thing that's got bigger and bigger and hasn't stopped growing. So it just goes in fads, and they're all so different.
The one thing I wish I could have been a part of, looking, retrospectively, is when you painted with one of the originators of the custom culture, which is Gene Winfield.
Yeah. Well, there's a few of them.
Gene Winfield was back from the 50s and 60s. He's one of the originals, California.
Yeah.
Used to chop them, and he started to fading custom paint.
Yeah.
One of the originators. He's mid-90s now, and he still does it.
He's 94.
94.
I think. Yeah,
he still does it. He still teaches people lead work, cutting, chopping cars, and still teaches how to fade.
How?
Because he's the best.
Well, again, I think
he got to paint. You painted a car.
A couple of times I helped him out. I ended up.
I'm fucking amazed that geezer's still standing 94.
Yeah, he's
94 after sniffing all that cellulose paint.
Yeah.
Maybe it's what kept him going.
Yeah.
No, it is a really nice. I mean, I got to
passion. You keep, if you stay doing what you're doing,
then
it keeps you fit.
Yeah. It's just absolute passion.
Looking at that, I would love to. If he sees this, I would love to paint
Yeah.
a car with him.
Yeah.
I'd fly out to California tomorrow and paint a car with him.
Highlight with Gene Winfield.
Can we get him on the podcast?
Pardon?
Can we get him on the podcast?
You
Well, I mean,
prob-
he
you-
can't fly over here, but
He's flown over here before. He's flown over here to paint a car. Whether
I
he's,
mean, I don't want to fly a fucking plane at 94 years old.
No.
Jesus Christ!
I'll tell you something. Artie would get him in front of a microphone. You could talk to him.
Yeah, you probably do
I
that
thought
business.
if you can just have a phone call with him, that'd be great.
Oh, that probably could arrange that. He's quite affable and
like
that.
one of the pioneers, if not the pioneer.
An old friend of mine is a close friend of his, so he'd probably get him to sit down. So we'll see if we can sort that out.
Sit down because he's so busy with painting cars.
Well, it's just got ants in his pants and loves doing it. It's simple as that. And I mean, I think that applies to an awful lot of us in that you keep trying to stop it or keep trying to sort of get a life really, and it drags you back into it, and it's could be a lot worse.
I'll be doing it till I'm old.
If you put a smile on your face, puts a few back in your pocket.
Yeah.
If you're doing what you love, it's not really work, is it?
It's the people as well.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
some
the community.
just fantastic people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, again, I'm not making more of it than it is, but coming over to Auto Finesse, it's always a laugh. It's all gearheads, isn't it? Completely
Yeah.
gearheads.
Yeah, through and through.
It's a laugh. Yeah.
It's always been, and it's always will be. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the car community, especially with the generation below mine, Jacobs and Ollie's, I think is starting to kind of die a little bit.
It's because it's getting harder to do.
It's harder to work on the
More
cars. I mean,
expensive.
it's harder to work on the cars anyway. I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, yeah, these days you open up an engine bay and it's like plastic everywhere.
Plastic and sensors.
Plastic, yeah.
Plastic and sensors.
Right.
If anything, you got a warning lamp on your dash.
And
Yeah.
but to even
Top up
stop-
point. Yeah, top up point. Like where?
Well, also, you've only got to get something wrong, and you can
Yeah.
cost yourself quite a lot of money. So I think unless you're quite knowledgeable, I mean, really, an engine's an engine, but
Everything
you've
that
got
goes
to be
around
you've
it.
got to be reasonably sharp to go straight to stuff on modern cars, and if you mess up slightly, you can actually mess a part up.
Yeah.
I'm talking about being a teenager or a 20-year-old. It's quite expensive to fix even
On modern
basic
cars,
stuff like lambda sensors
Yeah,
and all
but-
those things. Nothing's 20 quid. It's all 100.
I'm not even saying that, but talking about younger generation getting to the classic cars.
It's
I've
not.
got-
It's not accessible anymore.
It's not.
It's not.
Price so much.
Because
It
when you
just
think-
doesn't.
when
I
you
just
think
don't see it.
the heydays of when you were saying about Volkswagen and you were spraying all these cars, and even with like the American stuff, you'd be able to buy a Beetle back in the day for. Well, my first car was a 1969 Beetle 1500 upright headlights,
Nice.
tombstone,
It's small rear lights, right?
Savannah,
Tombstones. Yeah, tombstones.
tombstone
Yeah.
backlights,
yeah,
upright
yeah.
fronts, headlights. It was a lovely, and it was 67. I'll never forget 67,000 miles.
That was pretty cool.
And the funny thing is, I took it for granted because I wasn't really into the air cooled stuff. But it was a great car, and I crashed it. Not bad, but bad enough. It was original paint, 67,000 miles, and I stove the front end in. And I remember saying to you, look, we should probably get rid of this. I'm gonna destroy it. So I went and I ended up getting a little Clio after that, but it was good because I battered that car. And,
Buttered it.
so someone else probably would have taken care of that Beetle, but
I think you wrecked the next 6 cars, didn't you?
What?
It's like none of his
So-
cars.
no,
None of
so-
his
so
cars.
my-
None of
my
his
second
cars.
car
Come
was-
on.
Tell me.
So my second car was a Renault Clio, which I literally bought at Wimbledon auction. It was like, looked around it, you couldn't open it, looked at it, it was like £700. So yeah, that'll do. And I got hit up the rear in what's the trading estate? Valley Park, the trading estate in Croydon. I got hit up the back by a transit, and it bent the car like that. And the bloke got out. He was like, "You all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I was obviously in shock. He goes, "His van was fine." He's like, "I've got to go, so I'll see you later." And I said, and I was like,
Are you
"Yeah,
serious?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
Oh,
fine."
how funny.
I said, "Yeah." But obviously, I'm still in shock. So he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." I said, "Yeah, no, that's fine. Don't worry, mate. You're okay." Like a cunt. And he drove off. Well, I was only like 19. That was it. The car was right.
You're right. Yeah, all right. Go.
But my original point was the Beetle was £2,000 that same bug now would be what, 20 grand, 15, 20
That
grand?
was that would be 10 to 15 grand. Yeah, yeah.
It's
It was a
not
really,
accessible.
it was a bit. It was a
It's not
really nice
accessible.
car, really mint.
For your first car, I mean, it was
Yeah.
2 grand. I remember when we went. I think it was near here, wasn't it? Cambridge or something. We went and bought it.
I can't remember. It's been so many.
But yeah, so for people to get into, I mean, even walk like Mark II Golfs,
What to own one of these?
you can't. It's not
No.
affordable. A good friend of mine, I worked with him in IKEA. He had a big bumper. I can't remember if it was an 8 valve or 16 valve Mark II Golf. It was really nice, not lovely
No,
car.
they're to get a good one in a good nick, 10 grand.
Yeah.
I think he must have paid peanuts for it. And I remember him trying to sell me. He had a Vento front end Mark III VR6, and he wanted £800 for it. And I remember thinking, "Fuck, I can't afford that." I'd test drove it.
I would suck balls for that. For 800 quid.
What a cool car! But back
800
then,
quid car, Mark II Golf.
back then,
Yes.
and it was. I remember it was solid. I don't think it was tidy. It wasn't, the body panel, but it was the.
Well, as a matter of fact, we had Matthew from Mark II Spares in on Wednesday. And yeah, he's saying it's like to get a good Mark II Golf, about 10, 12, 13 grand
Yeah.
for something that you don't really have to do too much work on.
Yeah.
I think
Which I think
just
is fucking
can't-
stupid.
But if you think about it, you rewind 20 years or 20 or 30 years, there was no HP. You couldn't buy a car on payments. So everybody had to go out and buy something that they could afford with the cash that they got. So then you used to get
there was
quite
no
good.
credit on anything like that.
Well, there was,
it's
but not accessible to a 20-year-old or so say. So
You see, now you get mummy, daddy put 3 grand down. There is a brand new A class,
exactly.
brand new
So-
S3 or brand new this.
and that's the difference.
£500 a month.
But that's the difference. I think you stumped up all the money you got, bought yourself a half decent or a not decent second-hand car, and then you'd somehow or other muddle through fixing it if it went wrong.
But that's what I was just about to say is
Why would
not
you do that now?
not having money to go and do a HP or whatever it's called or pay per month thing.
I'm trying to think what you call it, leased or lease or
lease.
whatever.
And having that ability to take the car back to a fucking dealership because Cumber's gone wrong, let's take it back. This gone wrong, let's take it back.
Yeah.
When you bought car for cash, you literally took care
on
after
you.
it.
You've done all your cash.
That's
And
it.
then also then that's why you probably got good at fixing stuff or at least having a go. So
Fixing
that's the
your
difference.
fan belt with,
yeah.
with socks and
Whatever, or anything.
tights.
Yeah, it's true.
Literally.
But I think nowadays,
Honestly, yeah. That's what I've done on my Mark II Golf previously.
if you can somehow stump up 2 or 3 grand, and you can go and get yourself quite a nice new Golf or a Yaris or whatever that's quite nice, and you can put a vinyl wrap on it. Why would you go through the grief of spending all your weekends on a car? I think it's
Because-
we've grown up with it, and we're so used to it that you don't know any different,
because
and B you
turns boys to fucking men,
yeah.
right? That's
I think
it
you have
is,
to.
though.
I think you have to be around it. So either a neighbour has a car that catches your interest, or like you growing up saying that all you could hear every evening was V8 Zephyrs.
In the summer, it was true
Or
though.
Crossflow Mark 1 Escorts racing each other in the distance.
Don't really get that
All the
these days.
time, yeah,
No,
it
no, and
was.
that's gonna impact you as a kid. So
Yeah.
my impact as a kid, and obviously I didn't realise, is all these really cool cars coming in and out of our house. To me, it was normal. I was like, okay, yeah, we've got a whatever it was this week, a fully fledged drag car.
Was you more into the modern stuff at that time?
Initially, yeah. So I'll never forget when I was. I can't remember. I love Mustangs. So 65 and 67, early Mustangs. I loved them. Always wanted
67.
one. But then I got taken out by your mate Dean, who I can't remember if it was his or his mates, and he took me out. It was brand new, and I'll never forget. It was an M-Reg. It was a Escort Cosworth, and it had
With the wing.
the big whale tail wing on the back, leather seats, and I remember thinking, it was, what are they, 220 horse, 221, something like that. And I remember thinking,
And
wow,
Dean can drive.
he's a driver, and I'll never forget. He took me out in that. It was brand new, and I remember thinking, wow, 200 horsepower, 220, that's mad. And he took me out, and he took me on the Croydon Road, and back then there was a Payne's Poppets, so the chocolates Poppets was made at the end of our road in Croydon, and it's a long straight road, and he literally stopped traffic, and he just built up the revs, dropped the clutch, and obviously 4-wheel drive, and we must have done 120, 100 and whatever down there in the mid-90s. And to me, that was after that, and feeling the boost, because turbos were kind of not really big in production cars back then, and feeling that boost, I was like, yeah, Cosworth. So I went for a phase of wanting a Cosworth, and then so the modern stuff for me, anything with boost, I was interested in. But again, I've done full circle, and
so that presumably is like what people are now with electric cars, isn't it?
I guess so.
For us, what an electric car is for now is what a turbo used to be for us back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's...
If you look at it that way...
Yeah.
I mean, the thing felt like hyperspeed when you could feel the torque.
I mean, have you been in a fucking Tesla Model S?
No.
Like,
I went out in a Polestar.
Right, no, that's another fucking level car.
My God. As a customer, a drag racer customer of mine, I've been working on his car for a couple of days, and he said, before you go, let's go out for a bite to eat. Pulled this Polestar up in front, and I was just getting into it. I didn't even know it was electric. I just got in it.
Volvo, isn't it?
I didn't even know.
It's a fucking
I didn't even know what it was. Got in it, and he's a racer and that, quite level-headed and normal. But so he pooted off just down through this village up this way, I think, and blow me down. He would get up to this straight country road, and he let it go. And I have not been in as quick a street car as that for absolute years. I think the last time it was probably Steve's Cortina or something like that. It was, it's crikey. It must have been like an 11-second car, or
no, they're quicker
than that maybe.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Insane. I think they're in the tens.
They're insane.
It was unbelievable. But what was funny
is the instant.
But you're in a luxury car. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful inside. It was really freaky. So that was a new thing for me. Yeah. So you can't knock them. I mean, I still don't get it particularly, and I suppose
I don't get it.
I don't get it. But I guess we're going that way, and
it's a gadget for me.
I'd have an. I guess I'd have an. If it towed my trailer or my car or whatever, I'd have an electric.
Could burn for fucking next 5 days if you overdone on the torque.
So again.
So if you overdone on the torque, right, the batteries will catch fire. Right, and the next takes you like 5 or 6 fucking days to put that fire down, because you can't just spray them with water; it doesn't work.
Well, I know
they have to burn out.
I know that at the drag strip they've got certain precautions that they have to do, because now you've got electric cars racing. I think it is a concern actually, but I'm not sure of the details, but. But you don't see electric cars broken down by the side of the road, do you? I mean, they
yes, you do.
You do.
Right, I drive on the M11 every fucking day.
Yeah.
And at least once a week there'll be a Tesla parked on the side of the motorway.
I texted you yesterday on the M25. There was a Model X being towed by a Touareg V10 diesel. I mean, the ultimate irony.
Well, I've got the V6, but yeah, they're guzzlers.
But this was the V10, the 5-litre V10 diesel, dirtiest thing, and it was towing a Model X, broken down.
Have you not seen the vans pulled up on the side of motorways that says electric charging, like the electric charging emergency van?
You are joking.
No. Really? Swear down on my fucking look, no crosses, nothing. Swear down on Hector's life. I've seen 2 of those where they literally on the side of a road with a massive fucking generator in the back, charging up a Tesla.
You're winding me up.
No. How else are you going to fucking get home if you've got a Tesla?
I don't know.
You have to charge it up.
I was talking to someone the other day, and they were going to be dropped to Clapham. This is from West London, yeah? And it was their mother-in-law or their stepmom was going to drop them to Clapham in the Tesla. And they were like, I've got to run to Westfield shopping centre first to charge it on the supercharger before I come to you. And I was like, what? Can't you charge it at home? And they were like, yeah, but it's, one of the trick, you charge it overnight. So it takes 8, 9, 10 hours. So, so in order for them to take the Tesla to drop them to Clapham, they had to run to Westfield.
To charge it up.
Yeah, so they had to plan this into their day. I need to run to Westfield
Or is
for 45 minutes,
Oh.
charge it, come back, pick you up, take you, and
then probably
go.
stop.
Well, no, then go home and charge it at
Yeah,
night.
but that's
in order
fucking
to do the journey.
stupid. That's stupid. I understand, like, people want to progress with the environmental side of things, right, and the combustion engines and whatnot. But, right, just take into consideration, where do you mine the cobalt, which is a prime source to make the batteries, right? It's made in fucking Africa. Then they have to transport it to Norway, then to transport it back to fucking America, to make the fucking cars. That's just the batteries.
And the thing that annoys me is, like I say, I'm not a Luddite. I'm not. I don't care about progress. I mean, I'm fine with it. And like that pole start, it was impressive.
There are,
right? Impressive.
It's
but
instant power.
But
I've been on stealth.
I do think they're actively getting rid of perfectly clean cars. When you look at when it comes to MOTs, a lot of the new from MOT testers I've been talking to and that lately, that some of the new cars, that are ULEZ legal, they're no cleaner than a really well maintained 2005 car.
No, do you know what it is?
And the resources that you use to make new cars, it just seems slightly weighted.
Ridiculous. I'm in the favour of getting an older car, like a Model 2 Golf or something older, like a 56 Chevy Bel Air, preferably pillarless one. Okay? Then find, let's say, a broken down, rear-ended V10 BMW M5 that you then take the heart out of there and you put it in a 56 Bel Air.
But that's normal. People do that.
Exactly. I mean, do that because those cars already been made. The CO2 emissions in the factories has already been disposed of to the atmosphere, right?
The point.
That's what my
this is fucking recycling at the most basic human fucking level.
Yeah.
I'm Polish, but I'm fucking kind of smart.
Well, I think you're going to see loads of development. And when for all these electric companies are getting so many breaks from the governments and tax breaks, and you look at what they're doing with the Tesla truck in the USA, it almost looks corrupt. Actually, the amount of subsidies that truck's getting. But
for what?
I mean, maybe they are good. They may well be really good, but it just seems like it's getting pushed so much now. And I know.
Yeah, but then how do you recycle batteries?
I don't know. I don't think there are the answers. Nobody's got the answers, and nobody knows all the damage that they're doing for the mining, for the cobalt, and all that.
For me, it's the same story with those fucking e-cigarettes and those vapes and stuff, right?
There's not enough research.
Yeah, I mean, cigarettes been there for years and years and years, right? They know to give you cancer. If you want to smoke them, this is what it gives you. We know what it gives you. There it is. It's on black and white. Yeah. These e-vapes, they've been around for like 10 years, 5 years. There's hardly any evidence or any research that's really gone into it or our long-term benefits or whatnot. Same with the fucking car industry and electric cars.
I think so. I don't think they've got. I don't think they know where. I don't think they know where it's going. So that's for sure.
So an example as well is someone we know had a i3, the little upright BMW. And he took it in. It was under warranty. He took it in for something. But he's very clever. Works on his own cars. BMW nut, loves his stuff. Knows them inside and out. But I think it was like a lease car or whatever, under warranty. So he took it to the dealership, and he asked one of the guys how much it is to replace the batteries on it. And the guy was like, "Oh, you won't need to. It's a new car." And he was like, "No. But I want to know what the unit cost is to do it." And he was like, "But you don't need to worry about that. It's not like it's a newish car."
But what about in 7 years' time?
So this is it. And he was like, I think he finally got round, and he was like, it's like £15,000 or £16,000 to replace the batteries.
You can basically
don't quote me on that, but that's
what
I was told. Yeah. Now, I've got an old 3 Series, a 330 Ci, which is ULEZ compliant, so 2003 manual, great car, analog, love it. It's it's fun to drive, whatever. That started overheating last week before, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe a head gasket or whatever. But for me, worst case scenario in that situation,
It's
I said
£1,000.
just swap an engine. If
Yeah.
I looked on eBay,
Yeah.
you can buy an engine for 500 quid. We could put our heads together in the workshop or in a garage or something. I know that not everyone can do that, but the reality of it is, I have access to do something like that, and my brother would chip in and help. But I could swap an engine for 500-600.
How are you
Not
going to
battery
swap out
packs
batteries?
for 15 or 16.
No.
grand.
Well, I think, and going back to the kids not necessarily getting into to doing working on their cars and stuff, I think we are getting to that point where you've got a completely governed scenario when you buy a car that you can't really work on them. The moment you work on them, you're going to avoid any warranties and all that sort of stuff. So we are heading that way. So
Being restricted.
yeah, and with that, I mean, I don't want to be head in the sand. I mean, all I know is that
I hope I'll be dead by the time that comes.
well, I guess the thing is the generations that are coming through now are going to enjoy the lives they got and the cars they drive and that kind of stuff. And like I've had the life I've had with the cars I've had. It's going to be quite hard to change. And I'm quite, I've always been a recycler, and I don't eat meat and all that sort of stuff. So I've got a modest impact on the world. So
I think if you've got half a brain behind you, you are considerable. Like you take those things into consideration.
You'd hope so.
Right?
You'd hope people would.
Like,
yeah.
Segregating your rubbish, like it's a given, or even putting your rubbish in the bin.
I think you have to
throwing it on the floor.
Yeah.
But I know.
The car thing, it seems to be warped. The whole thing seems to be warped by.
Sorry, that's my mother. I thought that was on silence.
Yeah, the whole thing about electric cars and pushing the cleaner cities and stuff, which is absolutely fine. I mean, it does seem to be slightly one-sided. It seemed.
I'd have an electric van.
Yeah, I would too.
I would too. A T6.
Yeah.
2 litre
An
TDI.
electric one.
No, I've got it's a 2 litre TDI.
Yeah, and
I
what's
love
wrong
it.
with that?
But I would happily have an electric one in time to come.
But they do
But
80,
at the moment,
the T6 they do 80 miles.
84 miles.
84 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
hopeless.
when I went
What the fuck are you supposed
we
to do
we
with
had a
that?
customer. We had a customer. I think Man still does liveries for them, and I won't say any names, but they've always had T4s, and then T5s, and then T6s. Got a whole fleet of probably 20 vans. I think they went down the road of having two. They bought two brand new T6 electric T6s, and it was a disaster because half the day they always had one driver in the caf. Or,
Yeah,
they had one drive way in, and they went back to diesels. Yeah,
I mean, you think what I've done today? I came up from Ashford today in Kent to South London. That was 60 miles, and then from there to here was 79 miles, and then from me to go back home now is going to be about 100 miles. So I would have had to charge it 3-4 times. It's just not doable on an 84-mile range.
So you literally have to leave on Saturday to get back home on a Monday
I
afternoon.
don't know. And I live in a flat, so I haven't even got
run the
anywhere.
extension lead out the
I haven't
window.
got anywhere to charge. So it'd be interesting. I mean, it'd be interesting to see where it goes. I'd say, but at the moment, I'm just enjoying the cars we can, and I don't want to wreck this world, but I will carry on with messing around with cars, and yeah, I think it's still got a place in this world for now, anyway.
And while we're at it, Neil, where do you think like the sign and lettering and pinstriping is going to go in the next, let's say 10, 20, 30 years? What do you think the future holds?
I think there is a future. When going back to when we were talking about the sign computers coming in, and it just devastated the sign the hand painted sign. When you've got this is what I'm saying about
easier.
Yeah. But and cheaper, and you could do 20 vans in a day. That kind of thing. There's a whole load of different great reasons.
At the time, you said it was different, that people loved the novelty of it being vinyl.
You can put whatever you want on the bill.
It's just printed and cut and
but when
modern. It was just cool.
Absolutely, but thing is, you get to nowadays. Who could see Instagram coming along where 20 years ago there was hardly any sign writers. There were a few hanging on, and then suddenly you've got all these youngsters, boys and girls who really are fascinated by it, want to do it. There's hundreds and hundreds of people painting signs now, and there were hardly any in London. I mean, there was there was so many sign writers 30, 40 years ago, and probably a handful 20 years ago, and suddenly you've got all these youngsters who want a letter, want to pay, and I get asked quite a lot. Me and Mandy have mentored quite a few youngsters over the years. I still get asked. There's a young lad I was chatting to at the Volkswagen
But
show.
you've mentored him as well.
Yeah, but I mean, third party, people from other
The third
families,
party.
and third party kids,
Third party bodies. Yeah.
random youngsters, but they see it on Instagram and they get inspired by it. So I think that's a really neat thing, and it's good for you. It's really good for you. It's good for your mental health, just creating and crafting stuff. So I think it's got a big place. I think because of COVID, I think people have got a much better grip on mental health and how good crafting, drawing, painting, sewing, all those
Anything like
things,
that.
anything like that, how good it is for you.
Yeah.
Working on your car, doing,
Yeah.
losing your head in what you're working on.
100% agree
Yeah,
with that.
so I think it has got, because of that, I think it's got a real future. And as long as you've got people who are willing to sort of educate or help out, my door's always open when if there's somebody young or old wants to come along and have a go, I'll always give them half an hour of my time or 15 minutes, and I still do always have. And I think looking forward, there's an energy there. When you look at Instagram, I mean, I always get a few comments on the stuff I post up. People are always interested, which I really like.
Who wouldn't be?
And I'm always on other painters from all around the world, the graffiti artist Mr. Senzone, or Heart and Bones in the States, all these fantastic painters, and they're inspiring. You watch them, and so I'm no different now at nearly 60 than I was at nearly 20.
So who do you get inspired by? Do you get inspired by people from mainly, like, let's say, street culture, graffiti type of people, or is it
Yeah,
people from...
yeah. I mean, it's quite broad. I mean, I still love race cars. So even the modern funny cars, and you look at the liveries on the new Formula One cars, really first class design.
These year's Formula One cars are
Yeah. But
fire.
you look at some of the. I mean, I must admit, I'm not that au fait with the new liveries on the funnies in the States at the moment. But some like the Napa Auto Parts cars and stuff like that, awesome liveries. So I love all that. I think the graffiti guys. There's a guy I follow, Otto Shade or Otto Shade or something.
Yeah.
He does beautiful. He's done one in Croydon. I saw recently. Phew, really inspiring. Love it. I wish I could do that, And so I think there's a real energy in design now that is really good. There's a lot of tat, but then there's a lot of people doing some really brilliant stuff. So yeah, it's not going to go away.
No, I don't. I
No.
don't think. And I think mainly mine and Jacob's generation, we are sort of. I don't know about you, Jacob, but I'm sort of holding on to the OG type of ways of doing stuff. So, like, the sign writing. I don't want a vinyl on the side of my van. I would like...
And that's what I want to do with mine.
Yeah.
I think you can read. I think you can, if you look at the way things are done. We still live in houses that are hand built by
Bricky.
tradespeople, like a brickie. They're still plaster. You ever seen a plaster a wall? It's genius. I wish I could plaster.
I don't understand that.
And all those things, they're still there. They've been there for hundreds of years, and they're still going to be there. And I think all these crafts, all these skills,
Yes, but
have
how
still got
those
their place.
crafts are manufactured to get into that place is getting
yes,
mechanicalized.
yeah. Well, everything is. But I think that desire, like you were just saying about having a lettered van, I think even if we start going towards, as people can do less and less on their cars, I think you're going to see the energy going into liveries and styling of cars ramping up.
Well, that's what's happening in Germany right now, because Germany's last few years they've been really fucking strict on anything modified.
Yeah, the tooth thing and
Oh,
yeah,
the tooth, like the tooth.
Yeah.
I've just had Mihail from Germany, from the Nürburgring. They do blackfish design,
yeah.
and he said the tooth has just literally killed the entire car community. You can, if you wrap your car, that's bad. You've got tinted windows, that's bad. If you've put a different exhaust, that's bad. If you've got different sets of wheels, that's
Yeah.
bad. Like you get pulled over and your car will get confiscated. You got to pay a fine to get your car back, and it's like that with stock M4s, M3s, because you've got pop and bangs.
Yeah. And they do. That's the same in the States as well. I've seen. I mean,
Yeah,
we've all seen that video of that guy getting pulled over.
Well, me and Jacob had a little chat before you came up, and about the States and how strict like California is,
Yeah.
compared to what it used to be.
It was
Back in
it
the
was a
day.
starting place, really, wasn't it? Of
Yeah.
custom culture in
Yeah, so
cars.
and like
Now, like you said, you can't even have a
modified car.
no,
If
not
you've
at
got
all.
too many pop and bangs, it's
Yeah.
public
But then-
disturbance or whatever they fucking want to put it under.
Yeah, but let's face it. You can legislate everything. That's where anarchy comes in. And I think you'll find. I think you find after a while people will do what they want to do, and
It goes in waves, I think.
there'll always be some way of getting your car fixed, whether even if it means bunging it on a trailer and taking it to a track. I think you're going to see you can't sanitize people to the point where you stop people doing everything, because you will end up with anarchy. So I think somehow or other we'll wiggle our way through it. I'm not saying I do. I think you try and sanitize everything, you'll end up with people going insane. So
Yeah.
you know, can you see them getting to the point where nobody goes to the Nürburgring? Or I can't believe. I mean,
In reality, no.
we've still got the TT. I mean, how's the TT still running with all those deaths and stuff like that?
Actually true.
You know, I think.
Do you know what? That's a fucking fair point.
I
It's like 2 people die every year or something, wasn't it?
and that's not good.
Really?
Like, yeah. Sadly, yeah, it's a lot.
What, every
yeah.
year?
Yeah.
People complain about it, but then it's the thing, like,
The heritage behind it, they'll never.
they're signing up, they know what they're doing. They're doing it because it's such an extreme thing. They want to push their body to the limit, surely.
Yeah, and I mean, I was listening to a really good interview with, I think it was John McGuinness, and you look at all those great riders who've, ended their lives racing, and you look at it, it's just the list is enormous. It's shocking, but and
Well,
I'm not saying it's good, and there's nothing good about it. But what I'm saying is that I think you can keep trying to clean everything up, and you start cleaning up people modifying their cars, they're going to put that energy into something else. So I don't see it ending modification here of that quickly. I mean, it's going to happen to some extent, but
I hope you said
then you're going to have people. I think you're going to end up with people loading their cars on trailers and going somewhere where they can misbehave.
That's what they do in Germany.
Legally,
Put them on the back of a trailer, drive them out of Germany, drive them in France.
That's what you're going to get.
Really?
That's what you're going to get.
Yeah, literally.
And I must admit, with my sort of never-ending project of my old banger Mark One, if you can't drive it on the road, I'll be bunging it on a trailer and taking it to a track. So I think I don't think you can clean it all up, but you can't take that energy away.
I love that.
It's true. It's true.
I love that. That's good. Now, before we finish up, Neil, is there anything in life that you ever thought, fuck, I fucked up, I wish I could take the time back and start over fresh? Was there anywhere at that point in your life?
That
means...
Easy there.
Yeah.
Careful.
Well, first of all, I take it was Jacob coming too early.
No. Jake, Jake was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I mean, I think he made me and Mandy make an effort and stay together. So that was a brilliant thing. He was brilliant. He made,
Right, so, all right.
He-
So,
he-
I might have phrased that question.
So
a
no,
little bit wrong.
he was a good
Has there
he was a
been
good
any
thing. I've made
decisions
plenty,
in your life.
plenty of fuck ups. I've made so many screw ups, uh, which some of which I wouldn't even want to go into now. But I think, yeah, I've made plenty. I wouldn't change a single thing about my life. I wouldn't change a single thing.
That's good. That's
But
amazing.
I've learned, I've made plenty of mistakes and learnt a lot. And I think if you know, we all know when we've screwed up. I think if you can't wake up the following morning and think, I can do that a bit better, I can do this a bit better, and I can try a bit harder here, then that's the way I tend to look at things. I mean, like I say, I've made so many mistakes, and some worse than others. But I don't have. I wouldn't change a thing.
Can you tell me? Can you tell the listeners your worst mistake that you've made today?
Do you know what? Off the top of my head, I can't think any. I think.
Or the one that's
I think
close
not.
to
Do you
your
know?
mind?
Some of it was not talking. And some of it was not talking to people. I think that's the thing. Is sometimes you know when you should have said something when you weren't happy, or you've hurt somebody because you either said something or didn't say something. So yeah, there's a few. I think talk more, speak more, say your mind, and be honest. Actually, because I've kept a trap shut in the past when I should have opened it.
That's
That
amazing.
and that's that would have made a big difference.
That's amazing.
If that's answers the question. If
That
that's not, I'll go further. But
me, I don't know. Do
yeah,
you agree, Ollie?
I think yeah, no, that's the truth.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Ollie, is there anything you would like to ask this
No, I think
couple of most generous gentlemen in the world?
We're gentlemen.
Bodgers.
Two bodgers.
Bodgers.
Some have
Bodger and
managed
badger.
to paint shit on cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it.
No, we've
That's
been
all.
very lucky doing a lot of very prestigious.
Yeah, it's only I say
Projects
it's
and-
really
I know.
what have your favourite personal cars been? You've owned yourselves.
that I've owned. Do you know one of the nicest things I've ever owned was a T4 van, which I had to get rid of. Which I had to get rid of because of the LEZ when the LEZ came in.
Do you want another one?
What? Go on.
A T4.
No, I don't want another T4. No, I mean, no. Again, rather like a lot of things, I move on and that. So, yeah, I'd have that back in a blink of an eye because it had that diesel 5-cylinder, which was a particularly good
Oh, what great.
Did you have the 2.5
2.5
turbo diesel?
turbo diesel, and that was on 200.
Ollie, I know there is one for sale.
He's trying to sell you.
Yeah, I mean that was a wonderful engine.
They're amazing.
Yeah, and that was on 200,000 miles. It had never had a starter, an alternator, or nothing.
Yeah.
And it was ready for the next 100,000 miles, and that took us everywhere. It took us to France and Spain, and
See, Ollie, with that one.
yeah,
Thank you.
I'd have that back in a blink of an eye. That particular van, if I could. Yeah,
Mine's an old AA van with only one owner.
really.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, 30 Shades of Yellow.
Harlequin yellow.
Yeah, the bad yellow. Kind of orangey yellow. They didn't know. Moss?
Yeah.
Is there moss in it? What, inside?
Well, just like everywhere.
There might be moss
Not
outside.
inside,
No,
but
not inside. The inside's
the
fucking
vents on the wings,
perfect.
The vents on the wings is like you look in there. Look great.
Yeah, there is moss in there. Like, your plant's got a fucking place to grow, right?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, you could talk all night about old cars that you've sold and stuff. Yeah, yeah. But no, that was a really, really neat van that took my family everywhere, and that was a lovely van and really comfortable and fast, so fast. I remember picking a load of Americans up from the airport, load of American signwriters up. We were driving down to Poole in it, and they couldn't believe it how fast and fun it was. They were
They're an amazing van.
yeah,
2.5
2.5 turbo
yeah,
diesel.
Turbo diesel, amazing.
It was, but it still had that Audi sound, like the Audi Quattro rally car sound. You could still hear it. Wicked fan.
No, that's amazing. Jake, would you like to add anything about Jacob? Would you like to add anything about your father?
Don't stop there.
No, it's good. I mean, it's brought us close together, isn't it? You know, I've been lucky to learn. I wouldn't say a dying trade. I'm talking the custom paint and that, but a very niche.
Trade.
Yeah, you know, you can't walk into a college and enroll and learn it. You need to know the right people and show willing. And
So, are you,
Show Willing's true.
Are you gonna be taking on the baton and
100%,
running on
100%.
with it?
And I wanna be able to teach myself one day as well. Yeah, I want to be able to teach, as well, the panel beating side of things. I want to be able to teach people who may not know
niche.
what to do or have
It's gonna be the niche.
the niche.
It will be the niche.
Do you think so?
But the trade,
At
the thing,
moment,
the
yeah.
thing for me is the
you
trade,
bump your rear quarter, they take the whole quarter.
They do,
out.
they do, yeah.
and that
yeah.
and that's it. And
Like what we were talking about
yeah,
before.
it's just it's a new panel, whatever, you know.
It does save-
and
it does save
It's
the
a
panels,
dying
doesn't it?
trade. It's a dying trade, and you save a lot of money,
Materials.
materials, you know. And I would like to teach that to someone who maybe doesn't have know what they want to do. Do you know what I mean? You know, I know a lot of people that had no guidance or whatever, didn't know what to do with their lives, and you know, all they would have needed was just a push or a little nudge and say, you know, why don't you do
Why
this?
don't you do that?
Why don't you try plumbing or being a bricklayer
Bricklayer.
or whatever? And then, you know, you only see certain influences around you and you just get into the wrong crowd. And I've seen that personally as well. And I'd like to teach
Yeah.
someone, you know,
I
because I wasn't exactly, I wasn't exactly well behaved, but I was lucky that one, my daughter kicked me up my ass when I was 22. I genuinely think she saved my life when I was that age. Because I just had to man up and get a job. I just had to do it. Otherwise, you know, what was she
It's a
going to do?
push, isn't it?
Exactly. But then I reached a point when I was like 28, 27, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. What do I do? And I was just lucky that he taught me the custom paint, and his good friend Carl taught me the bodywork and panel beating. Otherwise, I don't
So
know
you
what.
just merged them two together.
Yeah, yeah, and I do both, and I have a great life because of it. And some people just need that bit of advice or guidance or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of people say that once you've mastered something, the next thing you can really do is pass the knowledge on,
Yeah.
being a mentor to the.
It's very rewarding, but I do think that people are pushed into academic. Not that being academics a bad thing. Obviously, it's brilliant, but the trades, Pete, the trades are so rewarding. They are so rewarding. So I think it's nice. I'm proud of him. It's nice that he's done. He found what he did, and you know, as I said before, you lose yourself in it. You can actually the trades are really great for people, and you know, sometimes people don't get access to even a look in to think that they could even that somebody does those things.
Yeah,
You know,
I
it's
fully agree.
making it accessible is a cool thing.
No, guys, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's been an absolute fucking pleasure.
Thank
you. Yeah.
I think don't you agree?
Very
I've
right.
been really looking forward to you guys.
Yeah, no, I've been
it's
looking
been
forward to it.
like since I've heard about this podcast, like Neil, especially you, I was like, I really need to get Neil on back on this podcast.
Well, I'm
It's
flattered,
just been-
and it's a pleasure. It's fun. It's nice seeing you, and
and you're a master of your fucking craft. You
Yeah.
truly are.
well,
And I've seen it.
Yeah,
Jacob's
I enjoy
seen
doing
it.
it.
Ollie's seen it. Everyone, I'm pretty sure 95% of people that know anything about sign writing and pinstriping in the world will know about you and the journey.
no, I
It's
love
been
I
a
love doing
pleasure.
it. I've loved doing it. I'm lucky.
and that's it. When we do it, it's just great. Love doing it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And I can see you guys bonding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so
I mean, I can see you pumping up. You like, it's 5 minutes until we're going to have a chat about this car you drove when you were 11 years old.
oh my god! If you only knew the amount of times I got called into his headmaster or headmistress.
Headmaster, what about police?
Oh, the police! Oh god, let's not go
We
there.
won't go there.
No, we're not going to go there today.
We won't go there.
But,
Last thing I need is knock on the door.
As a closing tradition, we have a little bit of a challenge for you. which is a both a racing, not on the roads because of the alcohol purposes, and we're not allowed to race on roads. So we've got a Gran Turismo competition, time attack on PS1.
Nice. On the PS1.
On the
forgot all
PS1.
about that. I forgot all
Exactly.
You didn't tell me about this.
No, I know. I did remember it.
I did
I've been
I
dreading
did
it.
tell
I've
your
been
dad
dreading
about
it.
this.
I've been dreading it.
Are you ready?
I don't play the computer
Does
games.
everyone do the same car?
Yes.
so
Everyone does the
It's
same
like-
car,
it's
same
like
track.
Star and Reason, right, right.
Yeah, it's like basically it's like cheaper version of Top Gear.
Yeah.
Much cheaper. Yeah.
Better though.
Better.
I'm going to be off at the first corner. I don't even know.
It's right. Only had to go with our new steering wheel
Got your
today.
steering wheel is not easy.
All right, let's go.
That is fucking shit.
Let's go.
We might have to
Let's
get rid
go.
of the steering wheel,
Yeah.
to make it fair for the other.
Let's do it.
I am better with a D-pad, to be fair.
Shall we give people the option? Yeah.
Of what?
steering wheel.
Steering
controller.
or a controller.
Oh, I can't do controllers.
Give him the
You
steering
want a
wheel.
steering wheel?
Give him the steering
Yeah.
wheel.
You will not want the steering wheel.
You don't want. All right.
Come on, let's do it.
Give it a go.
I'll do the steering wheel. you'll do the
Anyway,
controller.
guys, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Neil, it's been an absolute
No,
pleasure.
absolute pleasure. Yeah, it's
Cheers,
lovely,
boys.
lovely to see you.
Hands warm? Not really.
I can put the heater next to your hands.
No, I'm alright. Let's do it.
Are you going manual? It's going manual. That's the first time someone's ever done manual, isn't it?
I think so.
When was the last time you've played
I don't ever play computer games.
Same.
Really?
I think maybe when I was like 8 to 12, I
Yeah.
played a little bit.
No.
Well, that's actually the first games I've played was a Gran Turismo.
Yeah, I've never played them. Never played them. And it shows.
This ain't competitive.
What, do you prefer the different game of the car?
No, it's fine. I'm just saying, I don't think this one's competitive.
What, you saying that lap ain't competitive?
No, my last one was 54.
No, but that's a second lap because that's a standard still lap. Your second lap is a
It's the time.
what do they call them when they
Flying lap.
flying lap. That's it. Yeah.
So which one's the one that counts?
Well, both of them put together, divided by 2.
Right, we're doing it that way. Good.
Yeah, the average. I can't believe he's doing the manual.
I feel like we use you better control.
Yeah, it does, but there's a lot more things to have to think about.
Look at that. Double
That's a quick time.
minute dead.
I think that's a quick time. Where's my phone? I need to get my phone.
102 and 55, right?
Ollie, I've done this I've done this on fucking Wednesday and I forgot already how to do it.
Can't remember either.
Fuck's sake.
I'm gonna check from what time you've done. But mind you, this is manual, so that's a lot fucking harder. Oh yeah, you're fucked. By like 3 seconds.
One what?
You're fucked. By like 3 seconds.
So what am I, like a minute?
No, you're like 58.65 compared to our best time.
What's the best time?
55.61. But that's a manual.
Get ready to be entertained, boys. It's the big hilarious.
So have you done on a controller before?
No. I mean,
Do you ever remember your old man playing games?
No, he didn't. He wasn't. He never played computer games.
never.
Never.
Never. I
Never.
played this as a kid.
What? Gran Turismo?
Yeah, me and my brother played this all the time.
I think I'm going for slow and consistent here. You got me the floor. I was just trying to put my foot on the floor.
Do you know what? That's the first game I remember playing.
Me too.
And Colin McRae.
Did I play Colin McRae? No, I played
Have
this.
you not played Colin
I
McRae?
probably did, but I don't
Mate,
remember.
it was insane. The original Mark 1 Focus RS, bro.
Oh, maybe I do.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's Neil's practice lap, Ollie. What do you think?
I'm going to get any better than this. This is a good lap.
He's doing all right, actually.
Oh, well, I'm staying on the staying on the track.
I mean, Neil, you have a much better eye to hand coordination than my dad has.
Oh my god.
My dad tried to play this after drinking an entire bottle of vodka. And it was something like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We were doing some gardening, and somehow he finished the whole fucking entire bottle of vodka.
Nice.
And he's like, "What's this? I want to have a go." No.
Did he do all right?
Mate, there is still. See that Absolute vodka, that's how much is left. And we started at 11, he finished at 3. And by 4 o'clock, we were both asleep in the living room. Because we were drinking.
Did he do all right?
No.
He didn't do a good time.
Get off the grass.
I know. Oh, back into rhythm again. Back out of it.
Come on, dude. Push it. That's it. That's the home straight.
Is that it?
That's it. Keep going. That's it. That's the. Fuck my life.
So 122, 115.
Right. So you were 20 seconds slower per lap.
Oh, no,
Then
I
Jacob.
I made it round, so I didn't do too fast.
That's yeah.
Give me half an hour on it.
That was funny. 118.42. That's good. That's something along the lines I'd fucking get. Right, Jacob, your time was 58.65.
58.6.
5. And then the famous Pinstriper.
Shall I do mine down the bottom because there's going to be a few people above me?
No, absolutely not. Neil, you've done it in 1 point. Just do it a minute. Just
No,
no,
no.
all right,
no.
1.18.
I'm proud of it.
1.18.
1.18.
Oh yeah. Nobody's going to go a bit higher than that, are they? So.